This is the 22nd season of Bass Talk Live. BTL is presented by Bass Cat Boats, Strike King Lures, Aftco, Pro Guide Batteries, Spro, Gamakatsu, The Bass Tank, Beatdown Outdoors, and Sunline.
BTL coming at you.
Good morning and welcome to another exciting edition of BTL Bass Talk Live, where we are going to talk about bass fishing. And I see that in the comments, a couple of people say, man, we have some banger guests this year, kicking things off already. And I kind of made a little New Year's resolution that a lot of the guys that I've wanted to have on in the past had asked the questions that I haven't, because we do like 200 shows a year. And I was like, I'm just doing it. So one of the guys that we're having on is a guy that I've been working to get on for a couple months, but he's busy. In fact, he's so busy that in doing some research for this show, I found out things. He has his own app. We'll put it this way. Like you can go into, like you can pick up your iPhone and you can go into the app store and you can download the straight up fishing app. So I did it this morning, because I knew he had like the TV show and stuff. And I'm like looking through this app and I'm like, this is next level. This is some cool stuff. It is Brian Latimer. Brian Latimer likes to talk about fishing. So we have two things to talk about fishing. I'm just going to bring B-Lat in early and then we'll talk about the fishing, because one of them was some ridiculousness that went down on Clear Lake in the Winter Open that Billy Egan put on with one bass. What's up, B-Lat?
Yo, man, what's going on? I'm glad you had me today. I've been wanting to do this.
You have your own app.
Yeah, man. Yeah. It's kind of wild. It feels weird to say that.
Yeah. I like I said, I was looking at it and then I downloaded it and I was like, this is like really nice.
Man, thank you. It's kind of weird how I stepped into that. Obviously, like when I've been doing YouTube for, I think this will probably, I don't know how many years, since 2018, I think I got serious about it. And I had a friend, his name's Michael Wildman. He's like, you really ought to look into an app and put your teaching stuff on an app. I'm like, dude, nobody's ever going. Like, why would they pay me when they could do it, when they could listen to it for free on YouTube? And so I was like really apprehensive about it for probably 2 years. And he just kept pinging me about it. And then I was like, the more I thought about it, I was like, well, you could at least try it for a year. And then if it doesn't work, then you just quit. Like, just try it. And so I started doing it. And then I quickly realized, like when I did the app, I actually thought I was going to be making videos to teach people how to fish. And then what I found out about, since I've been doing this, is actually about community. So in fishing space, there's so many new people, and Matt, I guess you know, I hope you know, it can be kind of gatekeeping. We're the tournament guys, and we're the kayak guys, and then you got all these new people, and they don't have anywhere, honestly, just to be loved on, to ask questions, very simple questions like how to put a shaky head together, how to put line on a reel. It can feel kind of real weird to them, but like what I quickly learned is I wasn't making videos. I was making a safe space for people to ask questions, is what it ends up being.
Yeah, that's fantastic. We had like a segment for 2 years when Matt Looney ran Pro Guide Batteries. He's since moved on to Bass Cat, but it was 2 hours of me asking dumb questions about batteries because like, I think there's a lot of people in this sport. Don't worry, folks. We'll get to the 3-day 15 fish, 98.37 pound total that Garrett Ellenson had on Clear Lake this past week. I want to get your thoughts on that. But this is we'll just start in with a key point. I think there's a lot of things in this game that, like you said, it's kind of gatekeeping, judgmental stuff like that, to where like you get to a certain point where you should know this, but then you don't know it, and you don't want to be like, hey, like okay, I was like that with batteries. Like I had no clue how they worked. Everyone would be like, well, I'm running 312s in parallel and 230. I had no freaking clue what that
What is
meant.
parallel?
Yeah,
what is parallel?
I had no clue. Like people would be like, I was sponsored by Pro Guide batteries, and they'd be like, okay, so what's the difference between the lithiums and the I'm like, I don't even know what an AGM is. So like I did the shows where he'd be like, okay, this is
what does that stand for?
This is
you
that.
Can't just say that. You can't just say AGM and then not tell me what it means.
Okay, do you know what it is for me right now, Brian?
I don't even know myself, and I got batteries and everything.
No. This is what I'm embarrassed about that I haven't said that I don't know that I know. And I've been in this game 20 years. Jeffrey's said I was the Dink and Dunk guy. You're kind of I respect the hell out of you because you're doing the spinning rod thing before spinning rod was cool.
Dude, me, bro, you got to go way back further than me.
I know I'm saying that, but I know that and the Guido bug and all that. But what I'm saying is like you're one of the pre-scope spinning rod guys. That's what I'm saying on that. Like back when it was still the fairy wand and stuff like that. Like now it's like, oh my God, someone caught an 8-pounder on a bait caster. What was he doing?
Yeah. I feel you there. I feel you on that. I got to give credit to my pops on that, man. My dad was doing this stuff in the 80s. He calls it lead on the head, throwing a Texas rig, like a real light Texas rig on a spinning rod. Him and his partner, his team partner, they were doing that way back in the 80s. So like I was watching that firsthand. And you know what's crazy is when I started fishing, like when I started travel fishing, I kind of put that away, not realizing that should have been the thing that I should have won like twice as much money as I did, but I made it hard because it didn't feel like that would work when I started going to other places.
Because of the stigma that was attached to it.
Because of this, I read too many daggum articles and Bass Fan and all this stuff. I shouldn't have been reading that, and I should have just used the stuff that I knew that I was taught to do. I would have been. Do
you know what I heard in the Toyotas and the Opens at 19, 20, even 21? I mean, I got real close to making stuff, and everyone would be like, well, if you'd put down the damn spinning rod and picked up that bait caster, you'd have caught a couple of those quality fish that would have put you over the hump instead of just getting close. Like, okay, so I say that to say this. I'm embarrassed by this, Brian. I have locked the doors. I have tried it with the big. I can't tie a damn FG knot.
No, I don't tie FG. I don't even try.
I know, but I have tried. Like, I can't. I need to because I want. Now I'm getting to the point where I'm going up to 14, 16 pound test in certain situations.
I do too.
Okay, what are you throwing? Because I can't get the uni to uni through the guides.
Alberto.
And you're not having any issues.
No, every time you see me fish, I never use on my spinning rods. Okay, let's do this. First of all, on my spinning rods, I very rarely go under 10-pound tests. When I was at the St. Lawrence, because I know I'm gonna have somebody outdoor where you don't fish where it's clear water like me. They go all that. I'm like, dude, St. Lawrence, I finished 14 throwing 15-pound tests on 10-pound test braid.
Alberto,
I don't want to hear it. Alberto, not man. Come on, like there ain't no like. This is a perfect example. I love this conversation because this is one thing I talk about in the app too, is I messed up with spending too much energy on things that don't help me catch fish. You tie an FG knot is not going to put a single bass in your boat. If you want to tie one, that's cool. If you can't tie one, like you're not going to get a top 10 this year because you tied an FG. I don't care what they're saying in the chat right now. It ain't gonna do nothing.
I've never lost a fish because I've broken the uni to uni, but here's where I'll counter that a little bit. Like when I get up to the heavier gauge, I have a problem with because the diameter of sticking on the spinning rod. Which I know. Okay. Like, listen, Jody White says, Matt. So Jody was at the house a couple weeks ago, and we were fishing. So he tied a leader. So I've got this 2013 Abu Garcia Fantasista Regista first generation 7-foot medium spinning rod. It was their first foray into the JDM.
Yeah.
It's like kind of a tannish brown with the red wraps. Like
I remember.
It's OG, right?
Yeah.
So that sucker sat in the corner for like 5 or 6 years, and I'm sitting there last year, and I'm like, by God, this might be a good minnow shaking stick. So I pull it out and it's the cat's
it's
meow.
good stuff,
It's
man.
the best stuff.
Right.
But the eyes are a mid micro, and anything over 10 sticks on the uni to uni. So that's where I'm saying I needed. So anyway, Jody tied an FG on 12. I still have that leader on. I'm down to about 4 foot of it. It's so clean. But other than that,
on a spinning rod, I hate those little guides. When I did that signature rod with level, that was the first thing I did, is like get these smaller guides off of here, and put me some big guides on there. But it really doesn't have that much to do with the knot with Alberto. It's just, if you look at how big the coil of line is when you make a cast with a spinning rod, it doesn't make any sense to put small guides on it. Like it just doesn't make any sense. Like the line is going from a coil that big, and you're going to make it go all the way down to like this, what is it? Probably half-inch little diameter. I don't think that's smart to do. You're just limiting how far you can cast. But to your point, man, when I was fishing BFLs, and when I was in my early 20s, mid 20s, late 20s, early 30s, I spent way too much time worried about mechanics. Like trying to be able to skip this and do that and cast this way and do all this thing. Dude, I should have been trying to figure out how, like, where are fish going? What do fish do when the water drops? What do fish do when it's flooded? Because when I started traveling, like those are all the things that I had to. I never not caught fish because I couldn't put a jig under a dock or something. Mm-hmm. It was always because I didn't know what the heck to do when we went to Sam Rayburn and it was 15 foot high. I didn't know what to do. Like if I would have just studied that stuff more, like that's why I say, like, don't waste your energy on that stuff. I wouldn't waste my energy on FG knots. Reading your grass is good. That would be really good now. I don't even care. Mm-hmm. This is minus forward facing. Just like learning how to use electronics I think that's a very useful thing. But all like the mechanics and stuff, I don't want to name people, but there's some pro anglers that are mechanically pretty trash. Their hook set sucks. Their casting
Dude, that's my job. I've literally been on the water covering hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of tournament days. Not in the past 4 or 5 years, but before that, that's all I did. And I would come in and be like, also, dude, this guy's won majors and classics. These guys have
$3 million,
millions of dollars, and like. Yes. You're like, what the hell? But guess what? Yes. Like you just said, they were always around fishing. Now I'm thinking back to my tournaments, and never have I gotten off the water after a tournament day and said, by God, I figured out where they were, and I just wasn't good enough to cast to them and catch them.
Couldn't get that jig in there. I couldn't get that shaky in. That ain't never the deal, man. It never clicked.
It's always, like, I put that jig and shaky head exactly where I wanted to, and I don't know where the damn fish were.
Right. You should have put that down and did something else. But like even like with live coverage, how many times I went home and you're watching the live going home and nobody's ever doing anything that I could not do. Nobody was doing anything super special. They didn't find a place or creek that I didn't know about. They weren't using a lure that I never heard of. They didn't have a special color. They just kept moving until they found fish while I was trying to be pretty. That is a secret sauce.
I would agree. I mean, the bigger tournaments that I've done well in, I have had a little bit of imposter syndrome where I'll be like back at the room at night and be like, if these freaking people knew how dumb easy what I'm doing is right now, like I almost feel simple, bad. Like man. I always feel like a little sheepish. Like I'm like, okay, simple. I don't know if this one counts because this is such a dumb, easy thing to be doing. And then it's the same thing. Always like simple. Have you ever had a tournament that you did well in where you were like, oh my God, that was so complex and I pulled it off? Like, I mean, our tidal fishery somewhat like that. Can you get out on the James? Can you get down in a Delta where it's like, has there ever been a complex game strategy where you're like, man, I had 2x9 and then I went and caught this one fish and then I fished this after this because this happened?
Nope. I'll nope to all that. It's always stupid simple for me, which I document every tournament I've ever fished. It's somewhere on the internet, except for 2 that I haven't had time to edit because I want to do something cool with them. I hadn't edited St. Lawrence River. I don't even want to show people what I did on St. Lawrence River because it's so simple that if I show that, everybody's going to be doing it. And I've done it like for 4 years solid. It's so simple that I'm scared to make a video about it. I don't have any. I hate complicated things because it takes the fun out of it. I don't like going a bunch of different places when I'm fishing. I really prefer to have to move like 3 or 4 times during a tournament day at max. If I could do 1 or 2, it's even better. I like a main area and a backup. I don't have any complicated things. When I had been working at Z-Man for, I don't know, Z-Man's been a client of mine since I started. And when they gave me the opportunity to do something like a signature product, I think they were thinking I was going to do something crazy. I was like, I want a good shaky head. And they were like, well, I don't know if the market needs it. There's a lot of shit. I'm like, nope, I want a shaky head. There ain't that many good shaky heads out there. But like, where can you not use a shaky head? You can use it everywhere. Like, there's nowhere not to use it. But I don't have complicated. I think my whole thing is moving all that stuff out of the way and making it as simple as possible. I don't like complicated. I don't like any of it. I don't have special colors. I don't have special techniques. But at the same time, there's very peculiar nuance to my simplicity, if that makes sense. Because I'll say that and people say, well, he's not technical. He's not, da, da, da. And then if you fish with me, like, there's very, very, very peculiar little nuances that I like about the things that I do use.
Like, name one of the computer. I've got 3 packs of the. It's called like the shaking my head
SMH.
or something. SMH. Yeah. So I've got like 3 packs of them in the boat. I like them.
It's a good shaky head, man. Like, it really is a good shaky head.
Name one.
Perfect example.
Yeah.
All right. Let's talk about shaky head. So I grew up in the era of when the shaky head got popular. I would say early 2000s, it got popular.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
It was the FLW tour. It was the shaky head tour, man. They went to Beaver Lake every year. They bust everyone in from the Walmart there. I mean, it was the big thing, smoke, fire. It was always one on a shaky head. They go to Lake Norman. It was a shaky head.
Right. Even in my area of the country, there's a lake called Lake Kiwi. There's a spotted bass fishery. Back then, that was like probably our only true spotted bass fishery in South Carolina. Okay. We were throwing shaky heads back then, and I'm gonna go ahead and say the name because I don't owe anybody anything. It was shaky head called Spot Remover.
Yep.
Flat head on it. The science behind it was that it would make make the worm stand up and do all these things on the spot remover. Horrible hookup ratio, because back then we were using straight up fluorocarbon, and you would use like 6-pound tests. We didn't have like the weird sizes like 4.
Spring too coming off of it, wasn't there?
Yeah. Well, I said fluorocarbon. It might have been mono back then. I might have been using what was Vanish? What was Berkeley Vanish back then?
Vanish.
Is that fluorocarbon or no?
Unfortunately, I don't think anyone knows what kind of horrible material that was made out of. I mean, you want to watch your personal best vanish.
Yes. That was a horrible name, right?
Your lure vanishes on the hook set. Your dreams of winning the tournament vanish during the fight.
Well, it had so much stretch in it that when you set the hook,
that was fluorocarbon.
It probably so it was fluorocarbon. Well, it still had a bunch of stretch in it. You go to set the hook on a fish, you'd reel him 5 or 6 times, he'd come off. It finally clicked with me one day why fish were coming off so easy. It was because of that flat head on the spot remover. You couldn't get a good hookup ratio because you didn't have enough pound test and enough hook set power to actually bust the fish's mouth open and get the hook to prick him. So what they were doing is they were biting the shaky head. Your hook set is so weak that you would just pull the fish along and he'd open his mouth and the shaky head would come out.
Until he decided to let go.
Until he decided to let go. Because that flat surface on him, it just wouldn't push the fish's mouth open. It wouldn't slide through easily. And so once I started using round balls back then, I started catching more fish. And so when we designed that head,
Casey Ashley, like he's a Carolina guy who started using the round ball on the shaky
BFLs
head,
together.
Straight on the collar to get rid of the hook.
You see the culture of this area. Like we grew up fishing BFLs together. So when we designed that head, actually, I'll tell you exactly what it was. I don't know if the guys at Z-Man would get mad at me or not. Well, they shouldn't let me do it. They had a jig. It's actually David Walker's cross-eyes finesse jig. Yeah. I told Daniel, I was like, give me that head. Let's shrink it down. Like, let's take it like a bean and just squeeze it in. Like, it was like 30%. Shrink it in, That way it's not as wide. So when you set the hook, it will slide through the fish's mouth a little bit better. You don't need as much hook set force. Of course, we have braid and everything now, but you get a better hookup ratio just because of the shape of the head. Like if you're using a shaky head that's got one of those flat surfaces on it where they say it makes the head stand up, which it doesn't, by the way, it's still gonna fall over. You just get a better hookup ratio. That's all it is to it. Those shaky heads with the screw locks on them, horrible. Screw lock shaky heads. If you want to lose fish, that screw lock ain't nothing but a brush guard. It's a brush guard. That's what it is.
You know the shaky head that like you'll probably remember this because this was when shaky heads. This was the designer shaky head. I want to see if you could remember it. It had a worm that went with it. It was all the rage. It had a screw lock, but it was like the hardest one to find, the hardest one to get, and everyone on tour or everybody who was doing it was throwing this combo.
I want to say, what is it? I don't know, because keep in mind, like baits are almost they have little regions where they're popular.
This was nationwide. If you were a shaky head guy, you had these and you knew where to get them, and you didn't tell your buddies because you didn't want them to get them.
Let's see, what is it? I don't have a clue.
The guy who invented the company used to fish FLW tour. It was the Reaction Innovations Flirt with the screwed up jig head.
Perfect example. You couldn't find Reaction Innovations up until probably 10 years ago within 80 miles of here. You don't use that stuff. Very regional baits around here. I'll prove it to you. Did you ever throw an underspin 15 years ago?
Not until Ashley won the classic on the ones that his dad made, and then it was like, oh, cold water bait,
this
underspin,
area.
and then they came out with them afterwards, and then it was popular because they did the Roadrunner thing, and a bunch of guys did.
We don't call them underspins here. We didn't even call them underspins. Like Rick Stickelberg made that popular with what was his company's name? Rick Stickelberg made it really good one. What's the one that Rick Stickelberg makes? Fish. I don't know who. What is it? Oh God.
Fish head spin.
Fish head spin.
Yeah.
Fish head spin. Like that's this area. You're not gonna find that at Sam Rayburn in Texas. You ain't gonna find that at Okeechobee. That was regional to this area. It got really popular for a while. Like we have things in this area that are right here. I never used that. What you're talking about, and you couldn't buy it anywhere. This is pre. Yeah. Keep in mind, I'm old. All right.
I think we're probably about the same age. I just turned 41. How old are you?
43.
Yeah.
43. Like this is pre-online orders. Like you weren't calling Tackle Warehouse and getting anything. You're going to the tackle store.
Yes. Yeah. You go to the tackle store and you're like, maybe this tackle store has the bait I read about in Bassmaster, or that I saw in the FLW magazine, or that my buddy had when he went to the expo that was 2 hours away. And then you walk in. Like I remember I was in Southern Illinois with Darren Gates. We walked into this tackle store. This is going to sound weird. First time I'd ever seen a sweet beaver. And I was like, oh my God, there it is. It's in person. Like I've seen it. I remember it was the same thing with the Madman Mooneyham Craws. I remember I walked into Mike's tackle and was like, by God, there it is in the flesh.
Yeah. You ever heard of a creepy crawler?
No.
So a creeper crawler was really popular in this area, just in the upstate South Carolina, maybe Georgia, Lanier, that area. It was back then when we sold jigs on a card.
Okay.
And it was a spider grub, is what it was, but it was made locally here, and it didn't have a brush guard. It had like a really thick piece of fluorocarbon line that went from the head, probably a mono that went from the head, and you stuck the line in the plastic in the grub. Had a twin tail grub and a little plastic skirt on it, like a soft plastic skirt. That was a big deal here. That was our football jig. My dad won a lot of money on that.
We call that a chompers in the Ozark region here.
Is this what it is? Yes. That's what it is. Yeah. A lot of regional stuff that we called it Blade Runner back in the day, but the underspin, creepy crawlers, that was our football jig. Jigging spoons were huge. Jigging spoons just went away. I don't know what happened to it, but it went away.
Dude, you're right. Because that was massive. The jigging spoon was huge. When I first moved to Oklahoma, if it got October or on, you would have two. If it was sunny outside, you'd use the 7/8 hammered silver. If it was cloudy outside, you'd use the white one.
Let me see if I got my box of jigging spoons.
I still have.
Hold on a
I
second.
mean, I still use the heck out of them
Fine,
because
though.
I use them. Yeah, have at it. Go get some
Hold on.
tackle, Brian Latimer. All right. Well, Latimer's doing that. We're about half hour in. I've done a horrible job of doing BTL commercials.
I thought I had them out, but I don't. I think I actually put them in my boat because I went to use them with my son the other day.
Here, you could take I'll take a commercial break, and you can dig around and see if you can find one or two.
Yeah,
I need to take a commercial break anyway. I've done like 6 shows
Right
this
on.
year. I've ran like 3 commercial breaks the whole year. I'm shocked I haven't gotten a call yet.
All right.
It's
let me go
BTL
find
Brian
them.
Latimer on a Monday. We'll be back right after this.
The new Puma STS has been redesigned from the ground up. With the angler, design, function, and performance in mind, nothing on this new offering was compromised, and the only thing carried over from the previous version is the name. Based on the Soft Touch series hull that started with the flagship Jaguar, this new model is nimble and performs incredibly well at all speeds with either a 250 or 300 horsepower engine. Featuring a new 96-inch wide-body footprint, this hull measures out at 20 foot 7 inches in length. Industry-leading design coupled with tournament-winning performance. The Puma STS from Basscat. Feel the rush.
Before there were hashtags, there were handshakes and shared stories. They gave us confidence to make our first cast and chase our dreams. They taught us to fish, and in the process, taught us about life. They taught us that success isn't just about reaching the top. It's about lifting others up. The future isn't just about selling tackle. It's about 3 simple words. Let's go fishing. Here's to the original influencers.
As a professional angler, there's only one thing that connects you to your paycheck. Probably the most crucial part to tournament bass fishing. I use Sunline because they have a line for every application. Shooter, FX2, All Might, super light line, big stuff, big sticks. Sunline has you covered.
Sharp as can be. Super strong, super durable.
Really good penetration.
Thinner and stronger.
Catch fish after fish.
I want to make sure that I'm using the best stuff possible.
World's finest hook. World's finest hook.
Gamakatsu, world's finest hook.
All right, welcome back, BTL on a Monday. We are in a patented BTL wormhole right now with Brian Latimer. I had no plan on going here, but here we are. So,
Yeah, man.
all right, were you able to find?
Yeah, I got one. So this is one. So Jim Harder made this jigging spoon right here. This is no telling how old this jigging spoon is. But they call that color multicolor. I don't know if it's going to focus.
Yeah. It's like a sexy shad colored
Yeah.
jigging spoon for those listening on MP3. Really beat up. Now I have spent, Dave Rush, right? From Best on Card stuff. He's out there.
Yeah.
So I've spent a little bit of time in your neck of the woods. Learn the tips and tricks. Now, is that the soft lead on that jigging spoon?
Yeah. So you bend it you can bend it a little bit. I never did like to bend them because for me, I don't, when I see a fish on the graph, I want to be able to get my spoon down really fast. And so I don't bend them, but a lot of guys around here, they will bend them.
If you're listening on an MP3 and you know what like a War Eagle 7/8 ounce jigging spoon or any of those is, it looks similar to that, except it's softer lead. B-Lat just bent that with his thumb to make the thing wobble and fall almost in a banana shape. That is a Herring Lake trick, so to speak, that a lot of the old school guys do. Try that with the War Eagle. You will not be able to do it.
Nah, this is a War Eagle right here. You'd have to heat it up some.
Yeah.
Which that one actually is bending pretty easily. This is a War Eagle one though, but it doesn't bend as easily.
Yeah.
But how I learned how to use this though is when I was like in my early 20s and I got my first boat, and all winter I would just chase stripers. It was my favorite thing to do, is just chase stripers. And you caught them on 2 baits. You catch them on a jigging spoon and you catch them on a bucktail jig. But it was all about graphing, using your graph, your maps, and then also just watching birds. But it taught me a lot about using electronics. I haven't even really done it as much. with forward facing, just because now using the off season I can't unplug. But back when I was crazy and just would fish in any kind of condition, like the jigging spoon taught me a lot about how to read a graph. It's a good tool because it gets a really good return too, because it's solid.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, that is the one bait, there's all sorts of cameras and stuff where you see how fish react to it. Mercer does a good job of jumping down under the wire. Like that's him in a wetsuit, B-Lad. I don't know if you realize that. Like that's not a camera guy that he's paying. Yeah. That's Dave Mercer in a wetsuit down there.
That's awesome. I love that.
But take a big, like the Ben Parker mag spoon or one of those. I've always had a tough time visualizing how the bass strike those baits and what it's doing. And it's got to be I've never seen like underwater footage of a bass when you're stroking a spoon like that. I just can't visualize how those bass are eating it, how they're relating to it. I would love to see some underwater footage of that. I don't know how you'd get it, because it's usually cold and deep.
It's all right. Well, let's talk about that here in a second. But the retrieve on this, I'm not doing all this crazy stuff with the jigging spoon. If you ever see anybody with one of these and they're doing the rod tips, doing all of that, it's right here. That's it. It's just right on the bottom, just coming off maybe 8-10 inches off the bottom, going back down. 8-10 inches off the bottom, going back down. And the cool thing about it is I can get it to a fish fast. So you're in 50 foot, 45 foot. I see one instantly. I get my bait down to it with a drop shot, a shaky head, a Ned rig. You're letting it down. It's like, go, 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 go. Oh, he's gone. Yeah. All we had was 2D sonar, so I couldn't chase him. But with this, I could run down a fish really fast with it. But we're not jerking this thing 3 foot off the bottom, 5 foot off the bottom and letting it flutter back down. That's not what it is. These fish, they stay really close to the bottom a lot of times. And so it's just here. That's it. Almost like you see those walleye guys do. No walleye guys. I think they
it's called pounding sand.
Pounding sand is what I'm doing. Pounding sand is what you're doing with this. If you're doing all of this, you won't catch. I'll catch you 10-1 if you're doing all that crazy stuff. It's just right there. A super limber rod, a short limber rod,
like a crankbait rod.
A crankbait rod, yeah.
Rod. That's just to keep them hooked up.
Yeah, it's a big hunk of lead with just one treble on it. You can see how that one has a busted up treble. I never put treble hooks on it until a tournament because you catch so many line sides with it. But the best in this area, a guy that won so many boats who fished a lot of team tournaments with my dad, and so he taught my dad. So intrinsically, he really taught me. His name's Buster Green. The best jigging. Yeah. And he was good too, man. Won so many boats back in the day. There was a trail here. They're in sort of like Alabama, Tennessee, South Carolina, Georgia, North Carolina. It's called a Jerry Ryan. I don't know what they call it. What the Jerry Ryan something circuit? Fisherman, hungry fisherman, maybe something like that.
Yeah, their guy. That's about We've done shows on that whole circuit before.
Yeah, man. So my dad fished those things. Buster Green won every single one of them. Buster Green. I wish you could get him on here to talk.
Is he around,
man? Yeah. Buster. He used to be a striper guide.
I could.
I would love to connect.
I'll chat with you after, and then we can have a spoon. We can have well, you could do it on your channel or whatever. If you want to do it on BTL, I'll get you both on it. We could do it, but
we could do it. So you would need me because let me tell you, it's like having my dad on. So the old school fishermen, they're not going to get on here and start talking a whole bunch. You'd have to pry it out of them. They don't get one word answers.
So in 2016, I fished the Bass Nation Championship on Hartwell, and I don't think I've ever actually told this story out loud. I will. So I go to pre-practice by myself, super pumped. Had never been out there before, and I had a boat. I had to have get oil. It was right before I got in the Bass Cat, so I took my ZX 190 single axle trailer out there, but I needed oil. So I'm in the parking lot of a Walmart, and there's this old man. I'll call him an old man. He'll call himself an old man, doing hot laps with socks up to his thighs, short shorts, and little 1 pound weights. And he walks up and he's like, "Are you doing a little fish around here?" Yeah. And I was like, "Excuse me?" And he's like, "How do you say your boat there? It's in Oklahoma." And I'm like, yeah. Anyway, long story short, the guy's name is George Parker. I don't know if
I know George Parker. I know
you
him.
know old man George Parker.
I know George Parker. Yeah, old guy. I know him. He fished BFLs with me.
It was George Parker.
Yeah.
So this was before we had 30-day no limits. So I said we ended up chatting for like 20 minutes. And I said, George, I said, I don't know what the hell you're doing later today. I said, but I'll be at Green Pond. I said, he said, let me get the rest of my diabetes walk in. He goes, I'll meet you at the damn boat ramp.
That's George. That is 100% him. That is 1,000% something he would say. My diabetes walk in.
Yeah. So anyway, long story short, I need to call him. I haven't talked to him in about 6 months. Long story short, I've known George for the last like 8 to 10 years.
Yeah,
we want to talk about an extensive collection of spoons, custom painted, old school original Sabiles, all sorts of crazy stuff. And he's as old school as it comes, but he's one of those dudes I would assume, kind of like your buddy, who like would come on, but he'd be like, I ain't talking about that spoon, or I ain't talking about that Sabile Magic Swimmer.
Those old school guys, like if let's just say if you try to have my dad on here to talk spinning rods, they just don't talk. You know, you say you'd have to pry it out of them. So tell me about your setup, Jenny. Yeah, it's just a little 6'6" spinning rod. That's it. He's not going to go into details about it. They were just doing the thing, man. Like, you know, they were just doing the thing. But Buster, if you could get Buster telling stories, man, it would be good. So, you know, you hear so much about fishing ditches here.
Yeah.
And it sounds like it's a new concept. No, Buster was doing that back a long time ago. They did it with flashers. And I got a little bit of when I was a kid, I was on the end of the flasher era. I do remember fishing with a flasher with my dad, but keep in mind, I'm probably 8, 9, 10 years old. And then I distinctively remember, he also had a paper graph too, but I distinctively remember when he got that Lowrance LMS 350A. When he got that 350A, bro, we never went back to the bank. It feels like for years, because now he could see fish moving with his bait and stuff. Oh, dude, I got so sick of it because, you know, you're a kid. I don't want to do that. I won't let me go throw. I don't want to do that. But my dad, he was just so into it after he got those liquid. Those were the first popular liquid crystal units, X70A. So my dad had an X70A on the bow. He had Lowrance 350A, LMS 350A on the console. He wasn't doing they had a few mapping units back then. I think that was a Global Map 2000, something like that. Lowrance Global Map 2000. Those are the first popular ones in this area. But he got those things, and Buster was a master at that. If Buster was still fishing, I think he kind of quit fishing recently. If he was using his forward-facing stuff, lights out, bro.
Game over.
Lights
I think
out,
it's interesting. So you've done a lot of videos, and we still haven't talked about the 98.37 pound bag on Clear Lake. I don't care. Maybe we'll close the show with it. It's called the longest tease on earth here. You do a lot of shows about, I like where you just sit down and chat. You sit on a cooler. You say, hey, here's what I'm thinking about. Here's what's on my mind and all that.
Those are my favorite ones to do, actually.
Yeah. But I'm thinking like you take into, so like live, I think more so than social media, live has, you can't hide anything on live because you're fishing for $100,000 and you're fishing for Red Crest or the championship or your life, your career, whatever. So like
whatever it is,
that has exposed so much stuff in addition to the social media stuff. But like, think about when those graphs first came out and people were like, oh, you can watch a spoon drop on 2D and then these are fish and then you can catch them. Like there were probably some real come to Jesus discussions in the boat about like what you're about to see today. I know where you live. I will mail you your dead cat if I know you tell anybody what I just am going to show you is going to go down today. And I think that was probably, that was kept a secret for, there were how many guys, 10, 15 guys that knew how to do it. And the rest, it was like voodoo black magic.
Yeah, I would say so. Maybe even less back in the day. Buster was definitely on the forefront of that. In my little microcosm, my little area right in here. My dad really liked to do it a lot too. He did a lot.
But there was like, hey, let's teach this to the masses. Like it was just like with the lure, it was that. So then once you had the live, once you had the forward facing and all that stuff, like, it would have been the same back then if we had the same media outlets with live scope. Like there would have been like 10 or 15 guys. You want to talk about winning everything? Imagine if you had that technology back then without the social media or the live.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Yeah. It would have been bananas, bro. Bananas. But like, who would, like I just tell you, Buster probably won. If I had to guess, he's won a dozen boats. He might be more. I'm just guessing from what I remember. Nobody knows who he is.
Butt seat on the front, just sit.
He probably does now. Him and my dad's about the same age. They're in the early 70s. Probably does now. He might have said, I don't think so. Buster was a striper guy too, so that made him even more dangerous. So he understood how blueback herring moved, and he understood how bait was, and like he understood a lot about the lake. He's a true fisherman's fisherman. He would do striper guys and crappie fishing guys, and he would do bass guys too. But he's going to take your money in the wintertime in them ditches using them graphs. But also find a striper that came from him using his graphs every day. You know what I mean? Like he uses graph. He knew about road beds that nobody else knew about. He knew about tree lines that nobody knew about because he was on the water every day because he was a guide.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, nobody knew. There was no media outlets, and the media that existed, they didn't care about who Buster Green was. As good as he was, they just didn't care. We still had like local. Like our state magazine, I forget what the name of it is. We still had those. I think it's still going today, but still, it wasn't information that you can get with YouTube and live like you see now.
You mentioned the striper. I just got back from Mexico, and almost all the guys that are guides down on Bacharach started as netting tilapia. Yeah, and Josh, the owner of the lodge, was talking about how benefit, because I was like, well, how, like, there's no like recreational fishing on this. Like, how do you become a guide? Mm-hmm. Like, learn where it is. Like, it's not like you're like, oh, I fished out here 5 days a week with my dad growing up. We bring the skeeter down and bass cat down and dump it in the lake. You just don't do that on Bacharach. And he goes, the tilapia guys, as they learn where the tilapia are when they're 10 years old and do it, he goes, they know every single stick at every single water level because that's what they tie their nets up. They know where every single tilapia is. They know all of that. And they also know where every single bass is because they see them in the nets when they catch the tilapia and the fish around it. He's like, you want the best bass guide? He goes, I'll show you the best tilapia netter. And he's also going to be the best bass guide because he knows where every single fish on the lake is. Yeah. Same thing also with being on the water, especially kind of down there. Like, I mean, don't the biggest pelagic fish hang out in relation to those stripers?
They act like stripers. They act like stripers. We found that out even to a deeper level with the current technology. But yes, they run with stripers and they act like stripers. With meaning, what I mean by that is they can be anywhere, anytime, any place, any moment, and never be there again in the rest of your life. There's tree lines, there's places that I've caught striper where it's every drop and never caught another one in my entire life. On Lake Kiwi, that lake I was telling you about where I kind of learned all this finesse stuff, you can pull up to a point, a bank, a ditch, and I'm talking absolutely rip the panties off of them and never catch another bass there the rest of your life because they're literally just following bait. Does that sound familiar? But we know that now with the technology we have, and we don't even think about it. But back then, you would try to pattern it or try to come up with some reason why the fish were using this point or that point or a creek turn or whatever. And you can't bank on that. Like there's some spots, but a lot of places you just catch them and then you never catch them there again in the rest of your life.
Is scope screwing up the blueback lakes? Loaded question. I want to ask it loaded like that. Like the last time I went to Hartwell, it was for a media event. I went to George Parker Kane. Yeah. And I did it to be loaded and there wasn't crap on it. And I went, damn, it's because now it's not the secret that you can only see the little concrete block on the side imaging and the cane doesn't show up. And now it is. And now everyone's casting to the cane. And now scope is completely screwed up the spotted bass.
Listen, Maddie. Them fish been on them cane piles since the 90s. Same baits, same places since the 90s.
Are they still there, though? They weren't there when I was there. I've heard everybody that says, oh, you can't catch them on cane anymore because everyone can now scope the cane.
You had a bad day, bro.
Okay.
It was just a bad day. That day,
maybe George wasn't giving me his A cane. I mean, it could have been, that could be a C or D cane.
Was it in the fall?
It was right after the Elite Series was there, before the MPFL was there.
When was that?
It was this year. I want to say May, June. Yeah, it was May, June.
Or they ain't time for it yet.
Okay.
It ain't time. They're still on the herring. They're still on the red clay.
Okay.
Too early. Yeah. They can be, but it's always going to be about the season. But they hadn't started using that heavy yet. The spotted bass are just starting to spawn, and that's mostly what's out there. They're just probably still spawning. Yeah, that was a little early for it to be really, really good.
But it's not toasted. You're catching fish that that is the one time where you are catching fish that you would have no way to catch.
What do you mean? You're not talking about
with the scope.
Yeah,
with the forward facing. But you don't notice like where it's affected how those pelagic fish act pelagically.
They're doing the same thing I always did, man. That's the thing. That is the narrative that's a very strong false narrative that I'm seeing everywhere. Is everybody saying since scope fish are changing? They are not changing. They are not changing. They are not. They're doing the same freaking things that they have always done. The only thing that's changing about our lakes, and I'm speaking specific to our area. So at the chat, if you're talking about, not about lake in PA, I don't fish up there, bro. I'm talking about right here in my area. Ain't nothing changing, but I will say this. What's changing is we are 100% spotted bass lakes at this point.
Yeah.
At this point, we do have largemouth, but the biggest change is we have spotted bass fisheries, point blank, period, where it used to be easier to catch largemouth offshore, on cane, on timberlines, on the jigging spoon. I'll catch one every now and then, but if you're not fishing the bank, and even when you're fishing the bank, you're pretty much fishing for spotted bass now. That's the biggest change. So in the way that we fish has had to adjust to that because of it. Like you don't get these fish that school up in the back of creeks anymore. You can catch them in stained water on a crankbait. Not like you used to, because the bait doesn't even go back there hardly anymore. But is the technology messing up the fishing? It is not. Anybody that says that is just like, you're just making up stories. You're just making up stuff. It's not changing them, man. They're not hearing the ping. They've been hearing pings for 40 years, bro. The sonar ping, the 2D sonar was pinging just as much as the gosh dang on active target ping. We've been pinging. They've been hearing pings for 40 years. This ain't new to them. But maybe are some fish seeing lures where they didn't see lures? Possibly. Yeah, possibly. But the fishing, man, like from now to the end of time, fish are going to spawn from March to May. They're going to get on blueback herring from April to June. They're going to get on cane piles from forever, all year since we have spotted bass. Like none of that stuff's ever going to change. It's never going to change. It's always going to be the same.
You mentioned the spotted bass fisheries. All right. Like I'm thinking like a Polinick, a Shakura, the Johnston. Like you can like name qualities that say like, this is what makes a good smallmouth bass fisherman. You can like even kind of apply those to largemouth guys. A little tougher on largemouth, but specialty fish, spotted bass, not coast to coast on that. Your top three qualities in an angler that make you a good spotted bass angler in that Carolina region. Now take out the California transplants, take out the Alabama stuff like that kind of Carolinas north. Like let's go like Lanier, Lanier, Kiowee, Hartwell, Murray, that type of stuff.
That's a good question, man. That is a really good question. The best spotted bass fishermen don't fish deep. The biggest spotted bass live on the bank.
Really?
Yes, biggest. If you want to catch big ones, you better not go over 20 foot. Which in our lakes, I know to some people they're like 20 foot. Oh God, like where we live, 20 foot. I would even say 15 foot. If you can find the brush.
20 foot or fishing 20 foot.
Fishing 20 foot. You should not go deeper than 20 foot. If you want to catch 4 pound plus fish, you need to be fishing the bank. That goes to Lake Kiowee. That goes for Hartwell. I cannot say for Lake Lanier because I actually don't fish it that much because it's closer to 3 hours than it is 2, and I'm not going to drive past Hartwell to go to Lanier. But the biggest spotted bass run single, just like everything else. I very rarely catch big ones fishing deep, and so it is with the guys that are really good at it, that fish a lot locally. Because honestly, I don't get to tournament fish, local, competitive fish local as much as I used to. I say I don't get to. I don't. When I get home, I won't stay home. But the guys that I know, they're really good. They're really good at catching them in that 10 to 15 foot range, whether that be on something they planted. I know a lot of them plant a lot of brush. Too.
Shallow brush, then.
A lot of shallow brush. A lot
Like
of brush
on no
docks.
nothing banks.
No nothing banks, road beds, docks. It's almost what they do more than the skill that they have.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so if you're looking for an answer,
the skill.
That is the skill. They know where to put it, and they know why to put it there.
So you've got this big fish that's cruising. He's by himself because he doesn't want to have to exert extra energy to compete with smaller or other fish in the areas, to where then he might have to chase it down, burn calories, and not get it because his buddy gets it. He's cruising. Boom. Here's a little. Brad Halman used to call those willows that were out from the rest of them condos.
Yeah,
he goes, here's a little condo right here. That fish stops and it creates a good ambush point. He just hangs out there and you just run him until you see it, and there's a big lone wolf in him.
You know, I don't know. I don't know. That's the way we make it make sense in our brain.
Mm-hmm.
I honestly don't know. I really don't know. I wish I had a better explanation for why the bigger ones live shallower, but I truly just don't know. I really don't. All the biggest ones that I've caught have always been on the bank. I'd rather get 7 or 8 bites at Lake Kiwi than going out deep and catching 40 and catching.
Here's my theory.
Pounds.
There's more stuff on the bank that they can eat, and the bigger you are, the more you can eat.
Yeah.
So you have more reason to go up there, because now you're adding a bunch of stuff that a 13 to 17 inch spot can't even get their mouth around. And when you're shallow, your caloric exercised, or what you're exerting per intake. And when you're shallow, the crap you're trying to eat can't go down, because it's already down there. So instead of the up and down and chase around, you're the only thing. And if you come across a bluegill, you can fit it in your mouth. If you come across a mouse, you can fit it in your mouth.
Yeah,
that's like I said.
I think they're eating bluegill, crappie, crawfish, those ones that live a little shallower. I think that's what they're eating versus eating threadfin and bluebacks, and like you said, just burning. They're just muscle fish out there. Can you catch 3-pounders? Yeah, out there out deep, but it just seems like 3-pounders don't do anything anymore. Like, that's a sad place we are in this country, where 15 pounds ain't jack squat anymore.
But that's badass. That's what we wanted.
Crazy.
That's why we read Bassmaster. That's why we read FLW. That's why we watched the I got to back up from the mic there because this fires me up. That's why we watch the damn magazines. That's why the whole point is to go out and catch fish, and to make core memories with people, and to catch PBs, and to have great days on the water, and not wait to go do it again the next day. Bro, and not damage the fishery in the process. And I think you're hitting all of that right now. I think we're catching more and bigger fish than we ever have. And it's freaking awesome. Fish than ever.
More and bigger fish. Anybody that says our fishery is in trouble is literally, they are delusional. Or at least, the ones that I've been to, and I've been to a lot of them, I have not fished a fishery that is in trouble. I have not. It is the best it's ever been. And the weights are the highest they've ever been. Like the weights, I remember me and one of my buddies who used to fish BFLs with, has won so many, I don't know how many BFLs, Jamie Rampy. His son is the same age as mine, and we were talking at a football
He's one of
game.
those largemouth guys on Hartwell.
Yeah.
And big spots, but he ain't afraid to put a largemouth in the live well.
He can do anything. Jamie's a bad boy. Don't let Jamie Rampy is a bad boy. So
I know guys who have fished tournaments that he's in just in the hopes of drawing him to see how he did, how he's doing. Not like copying it, just like they're like, I signed up. It's like a lottery. If I draw Rampy, I'm not even going to bring a fishing rod. And then they don't, and they're like, crap. I don't know these two guys I got, but they're literally like in a hunting lotto, like to see if they draw Rampy in like a BFL. Yeah. Sorry, continue.
Yeah. So we were talking at a football game. His kid's the same age as mine. We were talking about the weights now. And he's won several super tournaments, the BFL super tournaments, for like 15 pounds, a 15 and a 12, or 15 and a 14. Try that now, see how well you do. The super tournaments are tough. September, October fishing, that's tough fishing. Not anymore, man. You better figure out how to catch like 20 in September. It's crazy what it is. And then now, like if they fish a BFL now, God knows what it would take. There were several BFLs when I was fishing those, that if you, like Kiwi, like when we fished Lake Kiwi, I would catch a limit and get a check, and then sometimes top 10 if I had double digits. If you just had double digits, that's all you needed was 11, 12
It'll
pounds.
be interesting this year. Like, they just had that first one on Rayburn, and info DQs aside, there was only one 20-pound bag. It took 12 something to cash a check. And, I got that open there next month. I just got back from there. But, with the only one section of the day being able to scope on that, it'll be interesting to see what the BFL numbers are, because they're only like 120 in that tournament, and then B, how that impacts the overall weights. I think we've seen on the. Well, what are your thoughts? You're fishing it this year.
Yeah,
you did it the 1 day with, 1 day without.
Yeah, I like the way we did it. I actually wish we would have just did 1 day with it and you got to pick your day. I understand logistically that might be a big issue. My thoughts on all the technology, I have a hard time saying that we need to ban it. That feels something about that doesn't feel right to me. But I also don't feel like just letting it do whatever it wants to do and what people want to do is the right thing to do either. I do think the measures that I think far and away Major League Fishing is ahead of the curve. I'm not saying that because I fish there. They don't pay me to say nothing. Matter of fact, I'm about to pay them today for Harris chain, 55 hundo. So if anybody tries to pull that bull crap in the chat, no, I pay Major League Fishing, and I'm telling you, just looking at everything from a distance, I feel like they're far and away ahead and willing to change and kind of mold to everything that's going on. And I like the way they're doing it even with the 3 hour thing. It's not my favorite, but I just appreciate that they see that, hey, we need to do something, and taking it away don't seem right, but yet we can't just let this just run away and let people be lawless. So I appreciate even just the effort. I personally do, but I don't think it needs to be banned. I think.
Why did it take so long for the organizations, Brian? This stuff was out there. I mean, you saw Scott. I mean, you look at. I've said this before. You look at Lake Cumberland. I remember watching Lake Cumberland, and I'm like, why is that sucker throwing a jerkbait 15 feet? I don't understand how he knows, watch this, I'm about to catch one, and he throws it to a tree that's 15 feet and twitches it twice and catches it. Like Clark Winlet, before he came out, I mean, he was doing some stuff with it before. So you have the Panoptics, you have 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, and then all of a sudden, like a couple years ago, they decide, like both organizations, all the organizations, do you put any onus on them for not growing with this and waiting so long and not having a bead on the industry and what was happening with their anglers on the water before deciding that something needed to be done?
I think I like the slow reaction. I don't like knee-jerk reactions. I think what they did by waiting to see and make sure this wasn't an emotional deal, because most of us were just emotional about it. Things were changing and we didn't like it. And so the leagues being slow to react was them making sure that the data matched our feelings.
Okay, that's fair.
Most of us were posting, talking about this strictly on emotions with zero factual basis. And so the leagues waited to make sure to look at the data to see if our emotions were lining up with what the data said. You got to look at this, Penguin, like you got to look at this too. Major League Fishing has a lot to do with the popularity of forward-facing sonar with Every Fish Counts. That's what made it popular, because like you said, they've been out a while. Scott was the first that I remember winning on Panoptics. Then I remember Patrick Walters starting to do a lot of damage with it and kind of keeping it on the hush. I remember that right around that 19 or 2020 mark is when I remember. Could have been before that. That's when I remember. And so what happens is 2019, Major League Fishing has all these, has the Every Fish Counts format where traditional fishing ain't going to work. DC, Wheeler, they start doing the whole forward-facing thing and catching just dummy amounts of fish. People are watching that. They're all watching that, and they say, well, that's what we need to do. And then they start bringing the 5-fish derves, and the rest is history. But I would say Major League Fishing kind of started the fire with that, with the format change that made it where you had to catch fish all day to be competitive. And then it just went wildfire from there, I think is what happened.
Yeah, the first time I think that I saw it go nuts like that, I could be wrong here. I think Aaron won it. It was that 2019 BPT on Table Rock where there were a couple guys that had that early Panoptics where you'd see them just dummy. And that was back when it was every fish over a pound on Table Rock. That was kind of the first time. And then, Patrick Walters on Fork a couple years later is where just went nuts on the Elite
Yeah,
Series.
went crazy.
Yeah.
So it was a slow progression. I honestly, I know a lot of people share that same sentiment you said about why they wait so long. I think it was good for them to wait. And, I hate, kudos to the guys that figured it out before anybody else as well. It's easy to sit around when you weren't on that bandwagon to complain about it. But kudos to the guys that figured out the technology, figured out how to use it, and make a crap ton of money on it. That's like, let's
what's
go.
even worse, Mr. Latimer? Someone who was around it, had it early, figured it out, and didn't know how to apply it to freaking bass.
To tournament fishing. Listen, using that technology and using it in a tournament is two totally different things, by the way.
100%. I did it in the Toyota Championship in 2019 on Cumberland.
Yep. The one that Andrew won?
I finished third in that event.
Yeah.
And you can go back and watch the TV show and watch what I did. And I could scope fish at will.
Yeah.
I go back and looked at, and I'm like, okay, why am I throwing a crankbait down the back and only then putting a drop shot on something that I see while I'm Why am I not just going around going, okay, there's a brush pile with fish on it. I was so mad at myself, and I was actively scoping at the time. I was like putting a drop shot down there, catching it 2019, October of that. Like I was scoping them, and it never occurred to me, oh, let's just scope. Because every time I picked it up, I caught fish off every piece of cover. I go back, I'm like, what an idiot.
But why would you, with the history that you had? All of us as fishermen, we're just stacking experiences. Something happened, and we use that experience in our next fishing trip. You didn't have any experience prior to that to tell you to do that. So you can't even be hard on yourself. You actually should be proud of yourself for even thinking to do that anyway at that time. Because nobody was doing that, man. Nobody was doing that.
I remember sitting at the boat ramp then, and I was with the bass tank, and we were doing the crappie thing, right? So we were dropping on crappie 30 feet away. We'd never ranged it out. I was doing all this with it at 50 feet.
Yeah.
No one had ever ranged it out. It was just new with the 32 and all that anyway. I remember sitting there at the ramp and being like, I think I'm like one of the only guys with this. I remember seeing one or two other guys with that. And you could tell easily on the transducer, because if you were an early adopter, you'd look around and it'd be like, okay, that guy has one. And then it'd be like, well, of course that guy has one because he gets the new shit no matter what it is. He just has no idea how to use it, but he's always had 6 graphs and the latest, greatest stuff. So I'm not worried about him. Then you'd go a couple weeks later and you'd be like, oh, there's 3 or 4 guys with it. Then you'd show up the next year and you're like, damn, I bet half of these guys have it. Then the next year, oh my God, look at that guy's about to get roasted. He doesn't have it.
Yeah. That's exactly the way it was. I feel like the gold rush was 22 to present is when I feel like it's 22, 23, it got wild. 23, 24, it got really wild. And so I feel like last year they kind of brought it back to normal a little bit, at least a little bit. Wouldn't say to normal, but it's coming back in range. Honestly, I use it a lot. Still not comfortable using it exclusively in a tournament setting yet. I'm just not comfortable because a lot of times you catch fish on nothing, and I have a phobia about feeling like, well, how am I going to duplicate that in the tournament? I have a tough time with that. But I will say this: it sure has been fun fishing the bank the last 2 years because ain't nobody out there. It's easy pickings on the bank right now. It's like the most fun I ever had the last 23, I had a lot of stuff going on, personal stuff going on. I got sick and a little bit of death in the family, but 24, or was it 24? 24, I couldn't fish. 23, 25, dude, there's just stuff. You can fish wherever you want. Do whatever you want. And there's fish still on that stuff. You might not top 10 doing it, but God, it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun.
You had a video recently where you called yourself a content creator.
Yeah, I'm a content creator.
Not a professional fisherman who does content on the side. It was interesting you did the comparison with Bill Dance and all that stuff.
Yeah. I fish competitively. I'm looking for legacy. I'm looking to be able to. I can't pass down championships to my kids and grandkids. I can pass down a media company. I can pass down if Z-Man sponsors me the rest of my life, I can't pass that down to my boys. But if Z-Man is a client of mine for a media company, I can pass that down. So fishing tournaments is something I get to do for fun. I get to fish really expensive tournaments for fun, bro. Like just because I want to. So I have zero pressure from anybody. I can do whatever I want to. If tournaments have a couple 100-place finishes, well, y'all ready to go film a TV show next week? I wouldn't have it any other way. And I'm still gonna win me a couple of 3 more championships before it's over with. I'm still gonna win me a couple of 3 more, but I ain't got no pressure to do it though.
If you're 17 to 25 and you're wanting to be a professional bass fisherman, take the last 2 minutes of what B-Lat just said and replay it about 5 or 6 times. And like, I don't think people like you see, this is one of the reasons why I really like what you do. You understand that the tournament fit. I'm not going to put words in your mouth. I'm going to say something. And I'm going to let you respond to it. Tournament fishing, in my case, the Bassmaster Opens, is just a platform.
It's a platform.
It is a platform. It is something that I enjoy. It keeps me getting up. It keeps me from burned out. It's that. But I am not looking at that as clearly as my source of income or as my job. It is a platform that allows me to do BTL and work with all these other companies and things like that. I'm trying to get to the Elite Series because that's just another platform that brings on different partners. I don't feel like there's very many guys who understand the importance of having a stable platform. They look at it as their job of what they're doing and not as just something that gives them the opportunity to, what did you call it? Legacy, generational, things like that.
Yeah. And everybody,
that's what it is. You mentioned it. That's what Bill Dance did. That's what Jimmy Houston did. That's what Roland Martin's done. That's why they're still around. That's why they're still relevant. That's why they do it, because they were able to take advantage of that beforehand. Like, I don't fish the Opens because I think I'm, going to make a lot of money and do it. Like, I mean, every once in a while a thread will pop up that'll be like, when the hell will Pangrat give that shit up and realize he's an average angler and go focus on the podcast? I'm like, those everybody's people completely missed the point.
Yeah, they've completely missed it. Like in our sport, dude, it is so it's really hard to, everybody wants to put somebody in a box. Listen, you need to build your own box. Don't worry about these boxes that the industry has created. These guys are pros, and these guys are TV guys, and these guys are YouTubers, and these guys are social media influencers. Like, people need to you can make your own box, and it doesn't have to look like what anybody else is doing. You don't owe anybody else your title. So many people are fighting for this title because you hear it all the time on podcasts and articles and social posts. Like, who's really a professional angler? Do you consider the NPFL guys pros? Like, bro, who cares? Who cares who's a pro? Like, it does. We're all paying entry fees. Everybody's paying entry fees. We're all fishing for the same amount of money. Who gives a fat cat what you call it? Like, build your box. What do you want to get out of this? Like, what do you want to get out of fishing? If it's fishing tournaments, go for it, man. If it's,
was there a moment you figured this out? Like, was there a moment you figured out, like, between the app and the social media and the YouTube and the tournament fishing and the business and working with your partners? Like, I mean, it sounds easy because, like, you've done it and you're doing it and you can talk to it. Like, I've done stuff with Scott Martin, and you look and you're like, dude, this, like, no one works harder on earth than Scott Martin with the camera crews and that. Like, I've done it with other guys. Like, I mean, for the love of God, Duckett lost his $500,000 freaking Bassmaster Classic check because it was side money to him because of all the other stuff that he had going on with it.
Right.
Like, it looks easy on the outside, but how did you kind of build it to where you were like, this is important, this isn't? Because I feel like I'm looking at the young kids now that are winning $500,000, $600,000, $250,000, like, everything's Gucci now. But there will be another group that comes in and they will go 2-3 years where they have the tough stuff and they're going, crap, I wish I'd taken a little bit more time building my brand pyramid with a base and a foundation of it, because they're not all going to win for the next 30 years.
Mm-hmm.
That's
So
what I'm worried about.
and I'm gonna have to go the long way on this. That's happened several times, and I hope that I keep finding out. I haven't found out. I just keep finding out. Like, I feel like every few months I get a clearer vision of what this is supposed to look like. So obviously, just like everybody else, I wanted to fish tournaments for a living. And thank God I grew up in a family business. So I was ahead of the curve, even though I didn't have enough money. So I have this weird thing. Only certain people gonna understand this. I grew up very privileged. I just didn't have any money. My privilege was I grew up in a house with a dad that was running a business, negotiating deals. He was growing a company. And so I saw firsthand how you talk to customers, how you acquire customers, how you move money around, how you use money to make money. So that concept was never new to me. It's like, I don't even know what it's like. I've never worked for anybody my entire life. I've always made work for myself. But that came because my dad, I watched him do that. He didn't even teach me. He didn't say, son, this is how you make money. If you ever grew up in a small family business back in the 90s, phones ringing off the hook at 6 a.m. That's how I grew up. The phones ringing off the hook at 9 p.m. So I saw how he negotiated deals. So when I looked at the math of fishing, when I hear these guys that turn pro and they're like, I can't believe there's no money in it. This ain't no NFL. Bro, you didn't see that? Like, how did you not see that there's no money in bass fishing competitively? Like, how could you not look at the entry fee, then look at the winnings, and then look at your odds of finishing in the money in every single tournament and not have enough brains to figure out, well, I'm going to have to do something else to be able to do this. So I saw that before I even started. Like, how do you not know that, though? Seriously, though, Matt, how do you not look at the payout on the Elite Series, the payout on the Bass Pro Tour, the highest, what we say the highest leagues are? Mm-hmm. How do you not look at the numbers and not understand when you go into that you're going to have to do something else? You can't go deer hunting in the fall. I'll tell you why.
Because if you make it to that level, you have so much belief in yourself that
you're delusional.
Yeah, but that's why you made it. Is because you go out and you're like, you know what I mean? Like, I mean, I think that's why. I think that's because you're the way you go, oh, well, I'm the Drew Gill. I'm the I'm the KVD. I'm just saying, I think that's.
But to your point, think about the guys that were really good fishermen, with the exception of, only exception I can think of is Kevin Van Dam. The guys that really only just use fishing are kind of grumpy when they get old. But have you ever seen Jimmy, Hank, all the Bill Dennis? They happy as a mug, happier than they ever been. They're just cheesing. They'll shake hands, but go shake some of the hands. I ain't gonna say no names. Y'all know who I'm talking about.
I can think of a few.
The old guys that just fished all their life into this. Rick Clunn is cool too, though. Rick Clunn is. It's probably.
He's
love
an
the
enigma.
way he thinks.
He's
an enigma. He's not fair. He's one off. But all the old guys that just fish are very grumpy, like very, very grumpy, because they ain't got no money. They still got. Can you imagine having to wake up at 4 a.m. and have to go tournament fish for 45, 50 years? You grumpy, and you ain't got no money. You are mad at the world. But Hank, Jimmy, all the guys, they happy. You ever see Roland Martin mad? I ain't never seen him mad. He's never mad, man. Happy as a mug because he made money. That's why. Like, money makes you happy. So I don't know how you don't see that. I don't know. Like, it's sitting out there in front of our face. It's sitting right there in front of our face. Anyway, I don't know where I was going with that.
I was talking about younger anglers. So the whole thing, I'll bring it back to it. Like I said, I like it. We're on so many wormholes that it's coming together in a cohesive unit now. I was saying your vision of creating the media around it, you're talking about your dad and how you had a great example. You were rich, not monetarily rich. That whole thing is how we started.
So let's go back to that part. I didn't have any money. I never had. When I started fishing the FLW Tour in 2016, I had about $13,000 total altogether, and I put that on the deposits to fish the FLW Tour. I didn't have enough money to fish the whole season. I figured I'd figure it out a little bit as I go. If I don't finish, well, at least I tried. And now I'm like, I think this is the 10th season. I didn't have money, but I had the privilege of seeing how to make money. And so I was ahead of the curve. I always knew I wanted a TV show. always knew I wanted to film or capture experiences with my fishing. I always wanted that. I just didn't have the money to do that when I was 25, 26 years old. And then back then it was just a different world. Then YouTube comes about. And so I think what really opened my eyes to how to do YouTube was the Googans. I didn't realize I had a YouTube channel for 3 or 4 years and I didn't really know what to do. I was doing like these weird tournament recaps and I would get like 18 views. And then I met the Googans at the Classic, and it was either Oklahoma or Texas. I didn't know who they were. And then there was like these long lines waiting to see them. So then I started Googling them right there in the arena. And I went on this binge watch of seeing like what they were doing. I was like, oh, dude, like they're just going fishing. Like, they're just showing people how to fish. That gave me some insight on like how that could work for me. But what really, really happened, so like I spent like the next year, 18 months or so, just making videos. I didn't really know what I was doing. It's not that I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know what direction I was going on. And I was doing a bunch of different things. I was just tasting things. Then when I won Seminole in 2019, this is when the light bulb really went off. When I won Seminole, it was just a tournament just like everybody else. Like plenty of people win tournaments. Well, not plenty, but you know, a lot of people won tournaments. And for whatever reason, that hit harder. And I found out that it hit harder because people had watched me not do good, and then I did good. And so they were invested in my story. And so what I really learned was that I can reach way more people by filming my experiences, like just sharing my experiences. And so I like that season. Luckily, listen, crazy as this sounds, 2019, luckily that season, that we had COVID, and I got to spend all of 2020 figuring out how to film. And so it like gave me this break from fishing to where I could really find myself. And then that's when I kind of started getting the lane and kind of figured out what I was doing. But that's the story in the shorts. That's the short way of the story, is just figuring out how it all came about. Most people came up to me not talking about how great a fisherman I was, but how I helped them catch a fish. And so I figured out that the value acquisition was me showing people how to fish and not me being a great fisherman. It was helping people. And I just saw that.
Are you still like 2% body fat like you were in that video? I look back at videos of me 6 years ago and I'm like, damn, I was in shape and didn't even know it.
Yeah. I put on a few pounds since then. I don't work out in the gym. I like ride motorcycles and stuff, and I probably put on like 10 pounds or so. Yeah, I weigh like 168 now.
So dude,
back then I was like 140, 150.
That's crazy. You didn't even realize it, but because of your curiosity and your willingness to think outside of the box, you put yourself in position to capitalize on what happened in 2019.
Yeah.
And you didn't even know you were kind of preparing for it or what was coming between the pandemic and your tournament win there,
not calculated
and stuff, and doing all that. And then like when you were able to do it, so like when you exploded, when you were getting big and you were doing those 18 views, like were you literally like doing like 10,000-15,000 YouTube subscribers a week? Like were you just like logging on and it was just to the moon?
I literally have no idea what happened. I really don't know. I was just making videos. I really don't remember. I just remember not getting views. And then I remember getting a few more views. And until 2019, it all felt dumb. And still sometimes it feels dumb. Like it didn't feel like you're talking to a camera, bro. Like you literally, back then I didn't have a camera. I had my phone. You're literally this.
Yeah, I feel very self-conscious doing that right now.
Yeah. You're just doing this, and it feels so stupid. You don't feel like you're reaching anybody. You see it in the comments, but you don't feel like they're real people. And then I win, and then all of a sudden I meet all of these people. People are reaching out to me. They see me at the Classic. They see me at seminars and so forth. And I was like, oh wow, like this is very powerful. When I realized like this is powerful. I enjoyed the win, but it had a heavy influence on me when people would come back to me and tell me that I helped them catch a fish. And so I went in that direction because I feel like when I'm done fishing, if I have taught as many people as possible how to catch a fish, I feel like I will get the most satisfaction out of it. If I get championships, I'll just have championships, and that's cool. I got that. If I can now finish it out teaching as many people how to fish as I humanly possibly can do, I am happy. I am so satisfied with that.
And you've been able to do it like you include your family in so many of the videos and your kids and things like that. Like I think that's a really cool aspect too. And it's so organically done. A couple things, like I was watching, you know who Sam Sobey is. He's a dude up north. He used to do some filming for the Googan Squad. He's been on. He does the Tourney Tuesday series up in Minnesota where he films. They fish 10 different weeks on 10 different lakes for their Tuesday nighters. And he like turns it into the Bassmaster Classic. You got to check him out. And then he does the whole ice fishing thing. Anyway, he just got engaged and he did it on he did a video about it. And he said, hey, I recorded this not for you guys, but for my future family, for 30 years from now to create it. And it's cool, like watching you throughout, like you watched that 6 years ago and your kids and your family and stuff like watching it now. And then like, it's cool. You've been able to kind of like watch them grow and organically be a part of your whole process as they've aged.
I mean, can you think about how cool it'll be? Like one day I'm going to die and I don't know, 100 years from now, one of my grandkids finds my YouTube channel and sees the cool stuff I got to do and actually be able to visually lay eyes on me. Like, I don't even know who my dad's dad is. Like, he died before I was born. And my dad always tells me all these stories about how they went fishing, and my granddad was a carpenter and they built houses and all these things. So that's why my content is very sporadic, because I am making videos for audience, but I'm also building videos because I know one day I'll die and my grandkids need to see what they can do. It might not be fishing. It might not have anything to do with fishing, which is in my mind one of the most bizarre ways that you can make money. But if they'll look and see me going across that stage and think, well, maybe I can make money doing whatever bizarre thing that they thought of because I decided to document it. So like that's some of the motivation behind. That's why I may do teaching, and then all of a sudden we're doing a dirt bike video because I want them to just like I want a paper trail of who I was for my generation, the generations to come. Like I want them to see that because I like imagine if I got to see my grandparents what they were doing in the 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s. Like that would have a heavy influence on who you are as a person. I feel like it would anyway.
And it seems like you aren't burned out.
No, I'm not burned
like
out.
Moments of craziness, like the industry as a whole, if you let it get to you, it can get to you.
Yeah, it's a very toxic place. It's a very arrogant place to be in. There's a lot of egos involved. Nothing's ever good enough if you pay attention to the industry. Now, if you build your own box, it's just you and who you let in it. Yeah, that's why it's important to build your own box, because nobody can validate you. Because like just being honest, especially now, like my YouTube channel is not the biggest in fishing anymore. Like it's not even close to the top. But like I'm not even building videos for that anymore. I'm building videos for like number one, very specific people that are looking to learn how to catch a fish. And a lot of the fishermen in the industry are not looking how to learn how to catch fish. They're looking for ego stroke. I'm just looking to help people catch fish. And then I'm also building videos like for myself. So you can't get burnt out with that. But if you're building videos to satisfy somebody in the industry, you'll get burnt out really fast. If you're trying to be a pro to feel validated, you're going to burn out pretty fast. So that's why I think it's really important for people to build their box. I wanted to say something about this too. It made me think. You were talking about something, and it made me think about it, and we started talking about something else. So with this whole content creation thing, I know everybody thinks that they have to do that now. I say this with a lot of caution. There's people making videos that don't want to make videos. Like, don't do that. You don't have to do that. Like, you can make a living fishing doing other things, and maybe you hire somebody to document that for you, but you don't have to. It almost makes it sound like you have to be a social media influencer if you want to be a part of the fishing industry nowadays, like one person that comes to my mind that I think about, I don't know him personally, but I watch what he does, and it's a perfect example of like you don't have to be a content creator. Cliff Pace makes baits. You know, he makes a living fishing, but he has several companies within fishing. You know, like what you're doing, Bass Talk Live, like you get to fish really high dollar exclusive traveling tournaments, and then talk about fishing during the week. Like you're making a living fishing. So you don't have to be on TikTok dancing or on YouTube videos saying every fish is pretty and it's huge. You don't have to do that. You can find your own lane, like whatever you like doing, you can make that work for you. Maybe you like deer hunting. Like lean into that stuff. Whatever it is, like you can lean into whatever your thing is. It doesn't have to look like fishing on YouTube. Whatever your thing is, you just want to document that and then disperse that somewhere. But you don't have to be a fishing YouTuber to make a living fishing.
That's what makes it valuable. Is you. It's not you doing what you think you're supposed to be doing.
Yes.
I will say that you can say that as fishing YouTuber. I'll say that on the podcast side, Brian.
Yeah. Yeah.
I am all for 500 fishing podcasts if they're unique individuals who are doing what they genuinely feel is their thing. It's when you have the same one that, just like in the YouTube format, feels like this is the hot guy, this is what we're going to have on, and we're going to ask him the same questions that have been asked 75 times before,
and keep doing
it, keep doing it. That's where it's like, dude, like people, I get a lot of, how do you start a podcast? How do you do that? You have to make it your own, just like you said with the videos.
Yeah, just make it your own. Like there's space, there's so much space. I know a lot of industry talk. They say, oh, it's just so many podcasts, there's so many YouTubers. Bro, it's so much space out here. Like
I love helping the new YouTubers.
Yeah.
Or the new podcasts.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I can't tell them what to do because it's got to be theirs.
It's art.
Mine is mine. People are like, well, how do you find out what, how do you know who you're going to have on and what you're going to talk about? I don't know. I'm sitting there fishing, or I'm sitting on the couch and I'm like, I want to get that dude on. Or I'm talking with someone and they say something about it and I'm like, I do that. Like, I don't go, what is going to get me the most views? What is going to get me the most clicks?
Because this is art. All of this stuff we're doing is art, and there's no wrong way or right way to do it. Fishing is art. These podcasts are art. YouTube videos, it's all an art form, and there's no wrong way to do it. Just the way you do it maybe not that many people care about it, or maybe a lot of people care about it. But it's really hard to, I get that with YouTube. I don't get it as much as I used to, but early on, people would call me and say, what do I need to do to YouTube? And then I would tell them what I had. And it's almost like they were disappointed when I would tell them, like, I don't have a camera. I just got my phone and a GoPro. And they're like, well, yeah, but what I bought this such as. I'm like, yeah, man, I don't know anything about cameras. I still don't know anything about cameras. I don't care to know anything about cameras. Matter of fact, I hate cameras. I hate it all. I hate it all. I don't have any special editing software. I edit on iMovie on my computer, on my Mac. I don't have anything special because none of that stuff matters. What are you going to say? What do you have to say to people? What are you trying to do is really all that matters. But yeah, I would definitely encourage people to try and taste stuff. Just do whatever your thing is. You don't need to call anybody if you want to start a podcast. You don't need to call anybody. If you want to start a YouTube channel, you don't need to call anybody. I didn't call nobody. I probably should have called somebody, but I didn't call nobody. I probably could have saved some trouble if I would have known how to make titles and thumbnails, because I look at some of my title and thumbnails still to this day. Like, I'm not talking about 10 years ago. I look at some of my titles and thumbnails like last month. I'm like, God, that sucked. I should have called somebody.
Oh, dude, I'm still struggling with it. The title for this is BTL Bass Talk Live with Brian Latimer. And you, like in your boat, that thumbnail for this show, it's like the 8th thumbnail I have ever bought. I just got my first month bill for Canva. I just learned how to do thumbnails. Other than that, it was just like me, like in an awkward, like it'd be like you, and I'd be like, and that would be like the head of the show, and like I would have everybody call and be like, bro.
What is that?
Put at least put a thumbnail up. So like my New Year's resolution in 26 is not to go nuts on it, but just to clean it up, because I would like,
same thing.
Ideally, there's some things that I would like to do with this show that require money to do. And I would like to get a non-endemic title sponsor for it that would allow me to do those things while keeping all the same sponsors on board. And it's just that cleaner aesthetic look for it. That's honest.
I've been working on that myself. There's like a lot of, I guess, lack of better terms, like e-courses and things that you can go to. I have been to, I actually hired like a YouTube coach for a little while, just to help me with those kind of things, to help me understand the psychology behind what makes people click on things and how to format a video. I think that is a good idea, almost like going to school for podcasts. I'm sure you can find some stuff like that. I think it's worth it. I actually enjoy that. I'd rather do that than ask somebody, because asking a lot of times is just a shortcut. I want to learn the psychology behind it. I don't want to know what you did on your thumbnail.
Why people click on it, what they do.
I want to know the science behind it. Yeah, there's science with it. I think that'd be worth your time and money to seek that out. It helped me a lot. It helped me a lot. I haven't been able to perfect it yet, but that's what I'm working on. It's just getting better at that.
I got married a couple months ago. My wife's been big on like, hey, let's get this dialed in. She wants to help. You know, she wants to get involved on that thing. So
That's
I'm like,
awesome.
hey, I'm all in on that. So I downloaded the Canva and I was like, look, I did thumbnails.
Yeah,
she's like, oh my God, good job, baby. They look so good.
Yeah, man. The good thing about with the podcast is you can get a template and just start plug and play with it. That's good. Canva's I use Canva now. I'm like 2 years into Canva. I wasn't using it. I think I was using an app on my phone for the first 7 or 8 years. So yeah, it's a lot to learn. Maybe you can hire somebody to do thumbs too, because that's another route.
Yeah. I'm super like micromanaging on it. Like, yeah, I have this in my mind and I do it. Like, I know that there are really good dudes out there. Like, that's how I got it. Like, I mean, I was an intern in 2007 for Mark Jeffries at the University of Oklahoma. He needed an intern. I mean, I sorted on the water photographs for a year for nothing. And he'd be like, hey, here's a pack of Yum Money minnows. Good job, son.
Right.
And I'd be like, dude, I just sorted like 37 hours of pictures. Like, that's how I got to know everybody, because like I knew what they looked like. So I could be like, you know, hello, Mr. Pace. Well, they had no clue who I was, but I did, because I'd looked at a billion of their photos. Right. But yeah, I'm like, I have to kind of let some control go.
Yeah, I'm learning
that's the hardest thing.
I was telling some people this recently. I've always been good about making work for myself, but not that great at running businesses. And so a part of running businesses is learning how to use people that know more than you. That's what business really is. If you're doing everything, you don't have a business. You know how to make work for yourself. And so that's probably the next phase of my life, because I've edited if you watch my YouTube channel, let's just say there's 100 videos, I've edited 95 of them. There are some that the TV team edits, but I do all the editing, thumbnails, description. I do like it all. And I'm trying to learn how to let go of some of that stuff. But with that comes communication, learning how to communicate what you want. And so that's really the missing link for me, is learning how to articulate what I want.
Anything else? I mean, dude, we could go on for 5 hours. Anything else that over the course, I'm trying to think of everywhere we've gone to try to put a nice bow on it. But like I said, this is how I do BTL. This is what I want to do. And we go down wormholes and I don't give a damn about it. So anything else that we've covered that you want to touch back on, or that we didn't cover, that you have a burning desire to get off your chest before we go? I mean, that's just one gold medalist to a fellow gold medalist.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, you're right. Matter of fact, I got my USA.
I know. I saw that
right now. Yeah.
I said, I got to get that in once a week. Yeah, that's a highlight of my fishing career there.
That probably is a highlight of mine too. That was definitely up there, dude. That is an experience.
2019.
2019 on Lake St. Catherine up in Canada. I think St. Francis. Yeah. St. Francis, and it's the St. Lawrence River is what it is. Yeah. Oh, smallmouth fishery. Mark Daniels and I were when yours was in Mexico.
Yeah, El Chichillo in Mexico.
Yeah, dude.
I'm still dealing with the consequences of driving 5 hours below the border. I got the Bass Cat tandem act. So we go through the
Customs?
Yeah, like Court was like, I don't care what you're doing. You're representing Team USA. I'm like, yeah, I'm like, I'll never get this opportunity. All the other trails are there, and this is this. I'm like 190th had to be. They had to be like, okay, who is dumb enough to do this with a month lead and take their boat and truck down? And Upshaw was like, Panger will do it. I guarantee that's how I got the invite to that.
Oh yeah.
So anyway, I get through there. And we're going through, and a couple cars cut in front of me when we're all going through customs right there down in Mexico, right? So I didn't know this, but they had like this metal pole. It was real narrow, and it came out of the ground. So when all the boats came through, the guy pulled the metal pole out, and all the boats went through, and everything was good. So then when there were a couple cars, he put the metal post back in. It was like in the cement, you pull it out.
Mm-hmm.
Allowed you to pull over to the side. Well, then I go through, he tells me to pull over to the side, doesn't take the metal pole out. I didn't see it. I didn't know. I go through customs. I'm like, oh, that wasn't that bad. I mean, we're in like an hour south of Falcon. Like we ended up at like our third option to get across the border. Right. And I go, and all of a sudden the whole rig just stops, like jolts to a stop. And I look back, and it was literally a 2-inch. There were 2 inches of the whole thing. That pole, when I'd pulled to the side, got caught in between my first tire and my second tire, got caught on the back tire, and torqued my entire axle.
Oh no.
So now I'm in Mexico. I just got through the border, and I've got one tire that's facing left and one tire that's facing right.
How does this happen?
That's exactly what I was wanting to know. So I had to pay a dude $20 just to back it into the deal. Long story short, I rolled with 3 tires the entire time. Mark Schlarb, rest in peace, did a lot of work for Team USA, for USA Angling, passed away several months after the Pan Am Games. Oh, man. For some reason had a spare spindle, because it was totally torqued. So I was able to get it back on the trailer to get it back across the border. And now I have a slightly bent axle, and I'm going through a trailer tire on the front driver's side every 25 hours. But I called Bass Cat, and I was like, listen, like I could pay thousands of dollars to do this, or you guys make your own trailers. You make the best trailers in the industry, in the business. I'm getting a new boat in April. This is probably some behind the scenes stuff. But you know, when I bring that back, like I feel like you guys would have a better job of fixing it than me paying a random guy. And they're like, yeah, we're all good there. But yeah, no, that's how I ended up at the Pan Am Games with 3 tires driving through Mexico.
Oh my gosh, man, that is horrible. Yeah, if you would have kept going to Mexico, you're not getting a trailer fixed.
No,
not with normal parts.
No,
somebody might have would have welded it for you. They might could have welded some new stuff under there, but no. Yeah, that's horrible. That is the worst. I've been so fortunate not to have. I've had a couple trailer issues, but they've all been pretty close to home. One time I did have to have a boat towed back home, though. I did have to have one trying to
because of the truck
trailer. Yeah, because of trailer. I had to have a boat towed back home from Pennsylvania one time. It cost me a fortune, so that's why I felt your pain
on a flatbed. Flatbed.
Yeah.
That's expensive.
It was expensive. So I take that back. I had it on a flatbed. I had it taken. I was in PA, had it taken to a marina, flatbed from where I was broke down to a marina. And then I had a guy tow it back here home for me. Like a hot shotter, brought it back here to South Carolina for me. But yeah, I feel your pain on that. And that was just in PA, and it was like a nightmare. So I can only imagine being at customs, not even in Mexico, you're at customs.
It was so out of my hands, and so I can't believe this happened, that I got back in the truck and I was with Upshaw, and Upshaw was like, "Are you okay, man?" And I was like, "Yeah, why?" And he's like, "Because I've known you for a long time, and you are way calmer than you should be in this situation." And I was like, yeah, I mean, it was so chaotic that it literally like skipped the, oh my God, this is a nightmare, and went back to screw it. We'll deal with it 5 minutes at a time. It is what it is. As long as we get out of here, it makes for a good story. So I skipped it was so bad that I skipped the entire freak out phase.
Yeah. Your masculine energy was showing up. It's like, all right, what do I do to get myself out of this? That's all you got. That's all you got anyway. It's like you can be mad, but you're still gonna be stuck at customs.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, we'll close it with this. This is interesting. if you're good with this.
Yes.
I don't know how this is going to go. 50-50. It'll be a bad ending of the show. 50-50. Great ending. It'll leave more questions and answers. So Mike Soul asked, does a blue trophy or fishing in the classic appeal to B-Lat? And I had heard rumors before that there was a potential, like, on the split and the merge and all that. And for a while it was like, hey, did you guys hear B-Lat's coming to the Elite Series? And there was a bunch of Carolina guys that came over, like Matt Airy and Brandon Cobb came over in that deal. Who's the other dude?
The Johnstons.
Yeah, the Johnstons came over. Well, I'm talking about just Carolina guys. Like there were 3 or 4 Carolina guys that were just in that. And then all of a sudden, like B-Lat's, you're just like, you stayed with FLW. So was there any smoke? Was there any fire to that smoke, I guess is the question?
Lots of smoke. The most smoke you ever see. I'm talking about smoke, more smoke than a Jamaican smoking weed in a freaking sauna. More smoke than you could ever imagine. I will say this. That was a bad deal. It really, all the smoke that you hear is what made even more motivated me to be more in control of my career, because I really saw during that period how easily, if somebody, either if they had it out to get you or if there was something that they had against you, how easily they could take things away from you. And so it actually motivated me even more to make my own box, to lean more into things outside of tournament fishing, because it is a gatekeeping place. It's very, very, very gatekeeping place. The rules bend for certain people more than they do others. That's not fake. That happens. The reason that we don't have, a lot of times, we don't have rules in black and white. We have rules in black and white. We don't have consequences in black and white because we need to see who's going to break the rules first. So that's very real. And so I saw that firsthand and experienced it firsthand during the transition between when we had the fallout with Major League Fishing buying FLW and Bass acquiring other anglers. Legally, I can't say exactly what happened, but if you heard something, it's probably right. You probably heard something. They didn't make up that rumor for nothing. It's like when you hear one of your buddies and you're like, man, that guy's a little sassy. We ain't making that up for no reason. Something's there. Well, when you hear any kind of stories about that, there's definitely something there. I say y'all go ask the people at Bass what happened. I'll leave it alone.
All right, there you go. That's a good question.
Yeah, it was a really good question. Oh, it was a really good question. I'd love that. I'm just gonna keep it right there.
All right. Anything else, B-Lat, before I let you go? We're an hour and 43 minutes in. I had no idea whether this was going to be 40 minutes, whether this was going to be an hour and a half. I had just from kind of getting ready to it. I feel like we would have had a really good show. I would love to add you as a regular BTL guest, maybe every 3 or 4 months. Come on and talk about it. I do that with Matt Steffen. I do that with Charlie Hartley. Obviously I do a show every week with Frank Scalish, but every once in a while you get a guest on that you're like, man, I feel like we talked about 8 topics that we could do an entire hour and a half show just about that one topic. And we just barely brushed the surface. So
yeah, that's what it feels like for sure. I'd love to do that for sure. Only thing I guess I would say, you got to get everybody ready for a sponsor plug. I know people that love fishing love sponsor plugs. So seriously, if there's anybody watching, I know most of the people that watch Bass Talk Live, y'all are pretty hardcore tournament fishermen, but the app that I have, it really is a community just for people that are kind of new to fishing. So if you're looking for something, I know for people our age, if you're in your 30s, 40s, sometimes you're a busy person. You probably got practice, football, soccer practice. You're busy and you want to connect with other fishermen, but it's hard. It's hard because you're always doing things. You're busy on the weekends. You're busy during the week. The app allows you to connect with other fishermen that are just like you, just as busy as you, and learn how to fish. Not only from me, honestly, the people in the app teach you how to fish more than I do. It's been a lot of people that have connected and become fishing partners, tournament partners through the app. So just join. You can just go to your app store. It's SUF School, I think it's SUF school is what you need to type in, a straight up fishing school.
I just typed in straight up fishing and then it was there and then I downloaded it and then I looked at, I mean, like I didn't do any of the,
Perfect.
I didn't join anything, but what I did was I can go in and you can see exactly like here, I'll show you on the, on this.
Like,
here.
Right there. Well, yeah, that yours will work too. That one right there. SU fishing. So yeah, just join it. It's a community. We do live classes on there 3 or 4 times a month. There's something called a community roundtable, which is like a big Zoom where everybody in the app gets in there and talks fishing about various topics. But it's more of a community than it is instruction. We do have instruction there, but it's a community of anglers where you can learn how to catch fish and just get more friends in your circle.
I have to tell you about the next time you're on. The very first thing I ever did as an intern with Mark Jeffries in 2007. He's like, you need to like do something. And I said, what about a Facebook? Now this was 2007. Think about it. But it's just for fishing guys to share pictures and stuff like that. So he's like, no. Jeffries was like, good. So we called it Social Fins.
Yeah.
And it was me as a 21-year-old at the University of Oklahoma. I had no idea. I mean, it was a total disaster. We like hired a website designer. We actually did it. We launched it. We got up to like 4,000 to 5,000 people who joined it. It was totally free to join. Like my big thing was we had like it was basically like a community app in 2007. Long story short, it was just me. I had no idea what I was doing. And one guy, and it lasted like 6 months to a year before it just died. But
that's a big deal, man. 4,000 people though, man.
Yeah.
4,000
it got freaking, I mean, I thought, oh, this is the end all be all. But I mean, like I'm a communications major who was fishing, played hockey and sorting photographs for Mark Jeffries. It was doomed from the start, B-Lat.
Man, you were ahead of your time, honestly. Because look at everybody has a fishing page nowadays. You were way ahead of your time.
Yeah.
Way
I'm
ahead.
trying to see if I could find, like, they had like a press release about on it and everything.
I remember, it's hard for people nowadays to understand. I remember with fishing news, I used to check Bass Fan every couple hours.
Yeah.
That used to be the deal back in the day.
Yeah, it was.
I guess, is it still a thing? Is Bass Fan still a thing? I don't remember last time.
Yeah, so they moved all of their content over to In Fisherman, and Todd Seisner and a couple guys are in it. I found the press release. This is in Western Outdoor News. It was February 2010, Norman, Oklahoma. There's a new place on the World Wide Web. That's how old it was. They said World Wide Web for bass fishing anglers and fans to congregate and talk strictly about bass fishing. Social Fins is a new network site completely dedicated to bass anglers of all skill levels from beginning to touring professionals. Social Fin offers bass fishing community opportunity to gather at a single social site, profile, make friends, share photos, write blogs, chat with other members, participate in public forums, and keep up to date on the industry, the news, and much more.
Unbelievable. And what a headline. What a headline. What a time to be alive.
It ended up just costing Mark Jeffries $5,000.
Oh, it cost $5,000 to get that.
By the time we had the thing made and everything he had put in, and we had paid for the website and the host and the design and all that, and then we did it for a year. I mean, it was doomed to fail. Like I said, it was just me.
Yeah, dude. But isn't it crazy that like it costs nothing to start stuff like that now?
Yeah. I mean, you don't know. I mean,
yeah, it costs literally nothing to start you can start a lot of things on social with no money. It's crazy how much things have changed.
You're coming off the second best year of your career points statistically wise. Headed to 10 years. Excited to get back on the water and catch him this year on the after you pay your $5,500 today.
Yeah, man. It's like I'm cautiously optimistic. There's years where I look at the schedule and I know I'm going to catch one, and then there's years where I'm like, this is going to be a little tough. This one's going to be this one's going to be a little tougher for me. Our schedule is going to be a little tough for me. So if I can do well this year, which for me is not so much tied to results. Like for me, a good year is when I find fish, I go back and I catch them. Where they decide me to put me in the standings, that's none of my business. Yeah. But for me, a good year is when I go and have productive practices, or not even productive practices, maybe a bad practice, and then figure out how to catch fish in the tournament. That's all I'm looking for out of this. And so just looking at the way some of these tournaments are set up, I think it could be
Harris,
challenge.
Santee, Wheeler, Douglas,
Harris, I've
Eufaula
never-
in Oklahoma, Champlain in New York, 3 hours of scope each day. That's it.
So I've never cashed a check at Harris Chain. There's only 2 lakes I've never cashed a check at, Harris Chain and Sam Rayburn. And the weird thing is I don't hate either one of them. I like both of them. I just don't cash check at those. I don't catch enough weight. Santee is just real funky. It's sort of like Okeechobee. It can screw anybody. So that was a little scary. I've never been
Wheeler's
to Wheeler.
dicey as hell.
Yeah, never been there. All the tournaments I fished, I've never been to Wheeler. And Oklahoma.
Douglas, dicey.
Douglas, I'll catch them at Douglas.
Okay.
Whether they're big enough or not, I don't know. I almost want to open at Douglas one time.
Okay.
So Douglas, I feel good about. That's my region of the country.
Eufaula, I did not.
Trash.
No. Eufaula, before they went there, I thought Eufaula would be the best tournament lake in the entire country. It's 100,000 acres. It has
huge.
smallmouth, largemouth, and spotted bass. You can catch them any way you want, whenever you're there, regardless of when you're there. And I was like, wait till they go. It's going to be 17 to 20 pound bags. You're going to have guys in the bushes and guys on smallmouth and guys scoping and guys. You can do everything you want.
Right.
The 15 major tournaments that have been there the past 5 years, it's either been a flood, it's been catastrophic weather, only 10 acres of the lake have had fish that want to bite.
Yeah.
Like, it has not shown out anywhere near to how I think and how I did, like, kind of growing up and fishing in Oklahoma. Like, it is shocking how difficult it fishes in national tournaments when you're like, dude, like, this lake has it all. You want to go freaking crank mud and 2 foot up, do it. You want to go drop shot and 20, do it. But it hasn't shown out the way that it can.
I don't think, I don't know what it can be, but I can tell you we went there, it was at 23. Bro.
I can tell you what it's not.
Don't take me way out there for that. Don't take me out there to Oklahoma for that. That place sucks. It sucks, a big one. And whatever a big one is, you can fill in the blank, but God, it ain't good. I can tell you that. So that was dicey. That was dicey.
Yeah.
Where did we go after that?
And then Champlain was scope for 3 hours.
That's good. I'm not planning to scope anyway. Like,
and then back to Florida in September for the championship.
Yeah, that'll be hard. We'll get the championship. Championship is whatever, but championship is a championship, so that's fine. But Champlain will be good. The only thing that worries me is the meat of the schedule. There's only one in there that I see that I'm like, Wheeler could be, even though I've never been to Wheeler, just looking at how it sets up, some of my stuff could work there.
Oh, wow. So this is interesting. There's obviously no smallmouth in Santee.
No.
Well,
hold on. Kind of not. So the congaree that feeds it, I think it's the congaree, there's smallmouth in there.
Has one ever been weighed in?
In a national tournament, probably not. But if you go far enough up that river, there's smallmouth. We have smallmouth.
Like little ones, or like ones that are like, oh, that's a nice smallmouth.
Yeah. 4 pounders. Where is it likely that nobody's going to have any business up there at the time that we're going to be up there?
Can you get up there without like dying?
I think so. Every time I've fished for smallmouth there, it's always been waiting. I don't know, but what's keeping them from swimming far enough down? It's not going to play. I'm just saying that it's not going to play. Let me just say that. But
I would just say
the smallmouth.
Wheeler could catch smallmouth. Douglas could catch smallmouth.
Yeah,
Eufaula could catch smallmouth. Champlain could catch smallmouth.
I never thought about it that way, but I don't know if there's enough smallmouth in like Eufaula to play though. Is it? I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't know how it works. So the way it worked on Eufaula, which is everyone knows, is they had a the way that it's been described to me is it was kind of like a passion project for some people there at Eufaula, and they had like a deal, and it was like one guy that was really passionate, and that's when Elam was catching 8-9 pound smallmouth, like the state records, and like, well, there's
Right.
there's another lake that has it, but like 7, 8, 9, like you would go catch an 18-pound bag of smallmouth out of there. But as the time has gone and it's kind of changed hands, like they haven't stocked them in there. And with the watercolor and how it rises and lowers, it's a very low population breeding density of smallmouth. So what used to be like a 20-pound sacks of smallmouth coming out, like those, I mean, dude, you could catch freak shows out of there, like 7, 8-pound. Like there's a picture of James Elam holding an 8-pound smallmouth out of Lake Eufaula.
Right.
It just, those genetics and fish aren't really in there anymore. I think Castledine caught, like in the last time they're like a 4 something.
Right.
And you'll see like a big rogue smallmouth every now and then. But I mean,
when I was there, dude, it didn't seem like there was fishing but one section of the lake. I went up the river, up that way, whatever that is. I don't know if I caught a bass up there. Seemed like they were all like in the middle, like not even the middle, like right around the launch. And there was another creek. Oh, down at the dam, maybe. That was it. There was no fish in any other parts of the lake. Like just
like
no
I
fish.
said, it's a one of these times it'll show out.
Maybe so, and it could be our time because we are going in June.
Yeah,
and I feel like
June
Oklahoma's a May, June. Like here in the South, like in the Southeast, I feel like we're March, April.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that area of the country is more of a May, June.
I don't think there's anyone that doesn't like Champlain. Whether you're a largemouth guy, a smallmouth guy, old school, new school, young, old, indifferent, whether you're covering the tournament, nothing like, there's just nothing bad about Champlain until you get like a north wind at 20.
I don't care if it blows 25. I'm gonna go up there. I'm gonna do the same thing I always do. I don't care if I catch 16 or 22. I'm doing my thing.
Here's what you need to do. You need to put an angry angler retreat together, B-Lat. You need to book you out a place up at Champlain and get all them old, angry pro bassers and people who are disgruntled and people who don't have any hope for the industry anymore, and book you up a place and go up to Champlain for 3 days. And I promise you, everyone will be laughing, smiling, and giggling by the end of it.
Wait a minute, but do you think it's as good traditional fishing as like St. Lawrence? St. Lawrence, I think, is actually easier to catch. Not smallmouth. I'm not talking about that goofy drifting stuff.
I think Champlain's less intimidating than the St. Lawrence.
Yeah, it is. St. Lawrence is very intimidating. Very intimidating.
There's a lot of places you can get on the St. Lawrence where A, you can get in trouble, and B, you won't catch fish. It's like when you're in the right areas, it's the craziest thing ever. But I feel like you can literally go anywhere on Champlain and at least catch fish.
Yeah. I agree with that. It's a fisherman's lake. It's sort of like Gunnersville. Like Gunnersville, I always looked at as like a fisherman's lake, where some of those places in Texas, they look good on paper, but you got to know what you're doing when you get there. Like you don't get to just pull up any random place at Sam Rayburn and catch fish. You better know what you're doing. But it's Champlain or Gunnersville even. You like, what can you not catch a fish doing at Gunnersville? Like everything works there. And so like, I think that's the difference between St. Lawrence and Champlain. Like Champlain, you don't really need to know much. St. Lawrence, you need to know a lot.
Yeah. Or have someone who says like, hey, go here. Like I've had that at the St. Lawrence. I mean, like that is invaluable because then like I talked with Josh Bertrand about the St. Lawrence before I'd gone before. Like I love the St. Lawrence, top 3 fishery for me. Absolutely loved it. Cash a check every time I've been. I can't talk, but I'm buddies with Travis Manson from Smallmouth Crush and Big JP who guides up there. And so like and when you go out and someone shows you, hey, this is how you drift in 3.5 mile an hour current.
Yeah. I
would never,
that's not normal.
I would never have figured that out had I not like gotten on the boat and you're like, you're kidding? And you're just like, and then like 5-pounder jumps out there and you're like, get out of here.
If you grow up in the Southeast,
you have to be with someone.
That's not fishing. That drifting stuff. What is that? That is not fishing. I remember when I started doing, I was like, what is this even? Like,
I asked Hank and he said it's because you're using the natural motion of the current to move your vessel and you're not using any of your motors or anything unnatural to move your vessel. Then it is considered drifting and not trolling.
But like, it's just that concept was so foreign to me coming from where I live at. We go and you fish right here and you got to drop it right here, right now, right there. not just random. This bar you just kind of grid it off. What?
Yeah, just drift for a mile and a half, then idle back up, do it, drift
and
for
go
another
back up?
mile and a half.
What is that? Like, come over here and try that. Like,
but dude,
it's
it
like,
is good for the soul when you're feeling that
Yeah.
jig or net or drop shot going tick, 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 and then all of a sudden it's just
soft. Oh, take my heart away, my guy. It's so good. But I never do that when I go up there. I'll catch all my smallmouth on a crankbait.
really.
All
The
of them.
first open that I fished up there, the first day I drew a gynecologist from Queens, but you didn't think you'd hear that on a podcast about fishing today. So he was a
Wow.
co-angler, had seen fishing
Oh,
on TV.
Oh,
He was
that'd be
fishing as a
good conversation.
co-angler in the opens. Had never fished a tournament before, didn't know what it was. So I'm drifting and I'm catching him. Like, I mean, it was one of those days where I was like, yeah, this guy's impressed. And he's throwing a jerk bait over 30 foot of water. So I wait till I get a limit in the box. He's never caught a big smallmouth, had no clue what was going on. So I rig him up after I've got my 21 Pias, I like 20 and a half pounds. And he started getting, I'm like, no, you just like drop it down, let it go. Cause like as a you've got a good co-angler in the boat. If you're planning on drifting and he goes with a 1 ounce weight and you're using a 1/2 ounce, you're about to get your ass handed to you because that guy's making sure that his bait's anyway. I get this guy out and he starts catching 3.5s on the drop shot, and every single fish he catches is his personal best. This is in the tournament.
Oh, really?
We're hugging, we're high-fiving. It's the greatest day of his life. He ends up with like 3 for 11.5.
Yeah.
It was
made his day with that.
Yeah,
you made his day with that.
Yeah, it was such a cool event.
It's a cool place. It's just a cool place to see. I want to take my middle son as my fisherman. I want to take him up there this summer. This summer coming to catch one. Either there or St. Clair. I think he might enjoy the St. Lawrence better because the largemouth is just so dumb there. But you can find dumb largemouth on St. Clair too. But
the castles kind of make it.
Yeah, that's cool. Just the stuff you see there.
You can rent one of those islands.
Yeah, I'm probably not gonna be able to do that though. It's got to be dummy high, right?
It's like $1,000 a night, I think, and it sleeps like
That's
10 or
not crazy.
12. And I have always considered, like, when I've had it, like, I'm like, the next time there's a tournament there, that would be a gnarly opportunity to film, to have fun, to what it's like one of those castles. It's an island. It's got its own like boat ramp deal. It's kind of cat a corner from one of the launch ramps. You'd obviously have to park your truck and boat in a parking lot and have it. But if you get like 8 to 10 guys to stay there, could you imagine getting up in the morning?
Yes,
and
I can.
You're on an island with the guys after you've cooked steaks, had a bonfire the night before, and then boom, you're freaking on the St. Lawrence.
That would be a good experience. That might. I actually may look into that. That's actually that would make the trip even more fun. Yeah, I think we might look at that. I didn't even know that.
Yeah,
I have no clue.
It's very cool.
Yeah,
I'll do it in an open. You'll do it in an MLF event, so we won't ever have to overlap or cross paths.
Yeah,
because you've got your reasons and I got my reasons.
I'm gonna take my kids up there to do that. They would never forget that. Staying in a castle on an island.
Yeah, there you go.
They would never forget
the
that.
Straight up fishing retreat.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's my guy Michael. So yeah, we have a retreat. It's our in-person event that we have every year. It's gonna be in April this year on Lake Hartwell.
I'm seeing if I can find it.
The retreat. Let's see.
Yeah.
So.
No, not the retreat. The
island.
The castle. Yeah.
Let's see where that is. Would it not be? Is it an Airbnb or is this a special site?
It is. Holy cow. That's not bold. I don't know. Hold on. St. Lawrence River Castle Rental. This is like a full island. I need to find it. Anyway, it exists out there.
Yeah, I'm gonna look into that.
It's not
That could be
Bold
really
Castle.
cool.
It might be. No. When I looked at it, it was about $1,000 a night.
That's really not. I mean, I've stated not quite 1,000, but that could be fun.
Here's a private island retreat, $800 a night, 5 bedrooms, 3 baths, sleeps 12, over by Bolt Castle.
Yeah, that'd be better than going to the Bahamas or something.
Oh yeah,
That would be cool. You don't forget that. Because that's about what those rooms cost anyway.
All right, Bila, I appreciate it greatly. This was a
Right on,
really
man.
fun 2 hours.
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
you.
I appreciate you including me on this.
Catch
You
him
call
up
me
this year.
anytime.
I'll get you on here, what, January, April, somewhere April, May, after you got a couple derbs
cool.
under your belt.
Yeah, that sounds great. Let's definitely do it, man. Definitely do it. Hopefully I have some good news by then.
All right, thanks.
Right on, man. You have a good rest of your day.
All right, see ya. All right, the one and only Brian Latimer, long overdue. And like I said, I'm not intentionally doing long shows, but that's the beauty of a podcast, is it can be however long it needs to be. So we're going to take our final break of the show. When we come back, wrap things up. Big week coming up. Some more news. I got stuff on CTL. We have kind of an announcement on someone who's going to be in studio next week, and it's not Frank Scalish, but this is BTL on a Monday. We'll be back right after this.
When I'm in a tournament, conditions are constantly changing and every second matters. With the Deep Dive app, I can instantly pull up all the current lake conditions all in one spot. So no more looking at weird government websites. In just one quick glance, I have water clarity, water level, wave forecast. It's all right there in the Deep Dive app. Download the Deep Dive app and get all the tools you need to put together an awesome tournament.
At Beatdown Outdoors, we know you depend on your gear to hold up in any condition. We built for that. We test for that. In fact, we pride ourselves in that. Because we know when the time comes to test your gear, you aren't going to take it easy, so we won't. We build premium, made in the USA products that you can rely on in the moments when your equipment should be the last thing on your mind.
Hey guys, Brian Schmidt here with Spro. I'm going to talk to you about the confidence I have in the equipment I use. You know, I have a charter boat business back home in Maryland. We fish for saltwater fish, and I also fish the Bassmasters Elite Series. So I keep my lights on by fishing. I have to have a lot of confidence in the equipment I use. Spro has me covered from head to toe, saltwater, freshwater, everything in between. A lot of high-end quality product. Spro has you covered.
Your early morning mentality is your every hour mentality. All gas, no brakes. Focus, purpose, power. Destined for the water, but confident everywhere else. A calming buzz before the storm, the truth of nature itself. You can't catch lightning in a bottle. There's a limit out there, but it's not with your gear. Unrelenting power delivery. Unparalleled weight savings. Keeping you on the water, whether you run a 9.9 or outscoping your best 5. In this rare air, there's power in the silence. It's a mindset, thinking only of the things that matter and freeing your mind from the things that you trust.
I fish in some of the worst elements across the country. Spring.
That's a giant, dude.
Summer.
Oh my gosh. Hi.
Look at that thing. Winter.
It's so cold.
And fall.
Got it. Big one. That's awesome. Being comfortable and staying dry is the only option.
AFCO. Any fish, any water.
All right, welcome back, BT, on a Monday. Wrapping things up, just looking at the comments here. There's people wondering about Halman, wonder how Halman's doing these days. I spent New Year's with Halman over at his house with his lovely wife, Dawn, and the kids. And I'll tell you what we did. We hung out and we watched football until about 9 p.m. And then his youngest daughter brought out Family Feud. So then we all went into the office. We set up 2 tables, and it was some of Brad and Dodd's friends, their kids, and some of their friends, and me and Courtney, and we played Family Feud in their living room until about 10:45. And then I looked at Court and said, hey, if we leave now, everybody is still celebrating the new year. It hasn't hit 12 o'clock yet. We'll be on the road when 12 o'clock hits, and then we'll be home before any of the sketchiness happens after midnight. And she said, sounds great with me. So we left at 11:15, and then we're driving New Year's. But yeah, Halman's doing great. Family's doing great. He's grilling. He's having a good time. He's deer hunting. His boy Grayson's big time into deer hunting now. So spending a lot of time in the woods. I didn't really ask him about the fishing stuff or anything. I know he fished in Alaska. But as far as like bass fishing, fun fishing, not going to push that. Who knows what'll happen? I did ask him, and he said, man, he's like, right now, no, as far as coming on BTL. So but it wasn't in a bad way. It was just, it is what it is. All right. Tomorrow, Ben Milliken. Now here's the thing. You typically get a lot of views when Ben Milliken's on. Ben talks about a lot of stuff. He covers a lot of stuff on his channel. I had Ben on before he even made a cast in the Bassmaster Opens. And I said, hey, you're an influence. I knew he wanted to get into the game. Then we followed him through his Bassmaster Open journey, had him on every single time, had him on after he made the Elite Series, during his time on the Elite Series. Now he is no longer on the Elite Series, has announced that he's moving in his video, that he's doing things after. So I said, you need to come on and we'll put an end cap kind of on this crazy story that's been the last 3.5 years of Ben Milliken's life. I think there's a lot to cover, a lot to glean from that information as he kind of moves on to the next chapter. And there's nothing I would put past Ben. I mean, he's dedicated, hardworking, and extremely talented in what he does, and has a little bit of a chip on his shoulder. So that'll be interesting. And then Wednesday, Scott Palmer from the Bass Tank. There's some new stuff. And Scott's going to tell us what he can tell us about the new stuff. We're still trying to figure out what he can and can't tell us. So we'll know that on Wednesday. Then Wednesday evening, we're going to do a 12, 13, 14 Monday. Yeah, that's Wednesday. I think I told him the 14th. Josh Daniels, Pro Bass Adventures. We're going to do an evening show. On the agenda today is to call some folks who went to Surrealized. I was like all over the map and holding my hands up like that. And you just keep it down here and talk with this. Talking about the BTL trip to Lake Bacharach, Pro Bass Adventures on. Also an announcement for the El Salto trip in 2026 and the Bacharach trip in 2026. Already had a lot of interest in that. First right refusal goes to the guys who have been on that trip before. But if that is something that you're interested in, would not miss this show. We'll have more info on it. I'll build it on Wednesday, and then I'll also put the info out on my Instagram at Matt Pangrak. Also, if you have not had a chance to check out CTL, Crappie Talk Live from last Tuesday, we kind of did the combo drop of the video and the podcast. Those podcasts come out tomorrow separately, or if you just want to watch the video, if you just want to watch it. That leads me to this. As of now, January 21st, we're going to have Drew Gill in studio. The Drew Gill in studio. We're going to get him out to do a little crappie fishing too, but very excited to have Drew Gill in studio. Like, share, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. Really enjoying the show so far in 2025. Going more kind of into the behind the scenes this year of people that I'm interested in, that I want to know more about their backstory. I think we did a really good job with the Todd Castledine show, with today's show with BLAT. We had Justin Rackley from the Guggen Squad on. Like I said, we have Ben Milliken. I'm not trying to just do big hitters in the first week of the year, first month of the year. I think I'm going to work more on, this is kind of like a business meeting with myself here, more on kind of the behind the scenes in-depth stories that give you a picture of the people that you like to watch. Let me know. Do you like it? Do you not like it? I also have some calls out to where we're going to do some really specific deep dives, literally using deep dive into techniques and baits with guys where we don't talk like, hey, how's the family? How's life? How's it? We don't do any of that. We just say, hey, here we go. And we take a deep dive, kind of like we used to do old school wise, and still keep the tournament coverage. But like I said, if you're listening on iTunes, leave a review. And if you're listening on YouTube and not subscribe, I don't think we mentioned it. We hit 20,000 subscribers. So that was cool. Thank you guys. That's fantastic. All right, let's cue up some music. I added a couple new songs. Now, I don't know. Do we like this one? I don't dislike that one. Every day I'm doing some different songs. I also forgot to ask B-Lat, someone else who's doing something cool in the industry that it's worth checking out. I need to put that question here. That was what I was going to ask everybody. And I've asked one person out of 6 guests. And then we also have this one. Maybe a little techno-y. But we'll close it with the regular one. All right, this has been another edition of BTL Bass Talk Live. Same time, same place, tomorrow. The Red Milliken. We'll talk to everyone then. See ya.